one more time, at least for now. We don't know when we'll be back, but we'll be back. I'm assuming at some point. We're here to talk about the worst Batman movie ever made.
Hey, now coming in
No,
hot
it's not.
already.
I've seen The Killing Joke.
Worst live action Batman
I've
movie ever
seen
made.
Batman and Harley Quinn.
I've seen the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman.
I would rather watch that.
Yeesh. So many bad takes already. We're not even a minute
I've
in.
seen Justice League. This is a lot better than Justice League.
That's not a Batman movie,
Batman is a central character, though.
but it's not a Batman movie.
Right. Yeah.
You can't.
We get in, yeah. It's a little bit of a weird territory. But anyway.
I love that you had to go to a team up movie to find a worse movie.
I mean, I like a lot of Batman movies.
There is.
So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm just happy to be here watching one of my favorite Christmas movies with you guys tonight.
It's a great Christmas movie.
We're
You're the
watching
one
Anna
here
and
who
the
loves
Apocalypse again.
I love this movie. Yes,
Yeah,
we're talking
what's
about
your history with it?
we're talking about Batman Returns. I watched this, or around obviously when I watched '89 for the first time, and I always liked them together. But I actually did go through a period where at one point I was very much like John, where I did not like this movie. Once I started to get more
What
into
happened?
Batman and once I started to get more into Batman in like other media, comics and the animated series and stuff like that, I had this view of Batman that the Burton movies didn't really go with, because they're not great adaptations in that, sticking to the source material kind of definition. But I've learned to appreciate this movie for what it is and fall in love with it all over again.
Oh
And
no, he's
honestly,
brainwashed himself.
I have. And honestly, on my most recent viewing, I'm gonna double down and say I love this movie. What's your
Robert,
history with it, John or Robert?
what?
John can
Yeah.
go first. We'll balance this out.
So I don't actually remember the first time I see this, but I know I saw the Schumacher films first. I don't really love any of
Okay.
these '90s, movies. Batman and Robin is probably my favorite because it's the most watchable. Uh, but best is probably Batman and Forever for me because that's actually about Batman just like trying. But I've never liked this movie, and I get really sick and tired of hearing people say that it's the best Batman movie. I don't like their Penguin. I don't like their Catwoman. The script is nonsense. All it has going for it is it looks like every Tim Burton movie he's ever made.
Okay.
Robert, it's your turn to go.
That's your cue, buddy.
No, similar to you though, I primarily grew up on the Schumacher movies and also like the '66 movie and a bunch of the cartoons. That's the stuff I grow up with. When I'm a little kid, my dad thinks these first two movies are a little too intense, and I'm not allowed to see them immediately. But then one time when I don't know, like 8 or 9 years old, I'm at an uncle's house with my family. It's probably during the holidays, coincidentally, and I saw that he had Batman Returns on VHS, and I asked if we could watch it. And my dad said, "Okay, sure, I'll watch that with you." And I fell asleep for most of it, but I remember being awake during the third act, and some of that imagery really being striking and kind of sticking with me. And then I don't revisit these movies for years. These first two movies for years later until I buy them on DVD. Because when I'm like in like around 12 is when stuff like The Dark Knight's coming out, and I'm just my Batman hype is going through the roof. I'm going all in on Batman stuff, and then I buy all these movies on DVD. I revisit them, so that's kind of my first like real fresh viewing of this. And I remember liking it. It's fine. I definitely had my phase of, this is one of my least favorites, kind of whatever about it. And over the years, I just my appreciation for this one just grew. while some of my issues with it have become more crystallized. I go back and forth on if I prefer 89 or Returns, because 89, despite several significant issues, when I'm watching the movie, I don't actually care. I'm just having a good time. It's a very breezy, easy watch. This movie I watch and I'm loving parts of it, and there's other parts that I find frustrating that keep me from loving it as much as you do. But I do like
Mhm.
this movie. I rewatched it around Christmas last year, had a really good viewing of it. So yeah, it is a solid Christmas superhero flick. And while I've always had my Batman and my preferred take, the default's obviously animated series and now stuff like the Arkham games, like that's kind of more in the vein of what I'd call my Batman. I've always
Yeah.
loved and appreciated the different takes, like how malleable it is. I don't want all Batman media to be exactly the same. That's a
Right.
big part of the appeal. I love the variety. And we've had
Yeah.
so many movies past this that it becomes easier and easier to look at like these 90s movies as just their own thing. Even in Batman and Robin, which was hated for a long time and is still considered one of the worst superhero movies ever made. It's like, it's so weird and
Yeah.
different. It's fun. You just need to go in with the right mindset, and they'll never make one like it again. So now it's kind of unique.
Right.
That's how I feel about all of these.
It's
But
hard
yeah,
to
I,
still
I
be
enjoy the
mad.
variety.
It's
Right.
really hard to still be mad at Batman and Robin, and I'd argue even this movie. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, what people are getting upset about with this movie.
We shall see.
I mean, admittedly, like I play it up a little bit just because it's funny. I just don't think about this movie a lot. I don't care. But no, this is my least favorite.
Fair enough.
It might get replaced when I watch 66. Who knows?
Well, that's a better movie.
Have you not seen that at all?
I
The
haven't.
66 movie?
I've seen like one episode of that TV show. That's it.
John likes to hate things he hasn't seen.
I don't
That's
think I
giving.
ever. I don't think I ever knew that you've never seen the movie.
I have not seen the movie.
Wow, that's
I would be
crazy.
down to watch it one day.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
that's
we'll
why
get
we
to it.
can't. That's why we can't retire this channel. We have so much we need to do.
Yeah, we'll come back for
Well,
some
we'll,
fun stuff.
we'll come back eventually. It's just, at least for Robert and I, I've been more into Batman or a horror movie than Batman. So it's like,
Yeah, fair
this was
enough.
starting
Yeah.
to become a bit of a chore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, especially a few months back, but
Yeah.
we're back for Christmas.
Yes.
Tyler,
we promised
Merry
this
Christmas,
for months
boys.
we had to do it. Merry Christmas, Tyler.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, God, this is 2 hours. Okay.
Yay.
All right, is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Sorry, 1 second.
You dirty, rotten.
How are you guys watching this movie? I've got it on the
I have it on Voodoo.
I have it on Max.
noise.
So
Especially
I
around
do.
the holidays, it would still be funny if that wasn't there right now.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that would be. I had to double check if it was on Max. Fortunately, it is. I do own it physically, but I think it's much easier to just pull it up here for the commentary.
Tyler
So-
says this or Forever is his favorite of the original four. Okay,
Very
Oh,
different
nice.
movies.
so
Yeah.
I love how we all call them the original four Batman movies, but they're not. Like the original
Yeah,
Batman
yeah.
movie would be 66
That's true. Yeah, that's often left out or not counted. But it should be.
for good reason.
Get out of here. Well, this is the original Batman franchise, I guess, or
Right.
Franchise.
The night.
But even then, is that true? Because the movie is based on the TV show.
Yeah,
That's a good
I movie franchise. You want me to get more specific?
Well,
Film
I mean,
series.
It's I always refer to this as like the 490s movies, but even then that's not accurate because the first one was 89. So.
that's close enough.
But then in recent years they've kind of been divided where it's like, well, the Burton movies are a pair and the Schumacher movies are a pair because now we're doing all this 89 canon stuff that's like not canon with the Schumacher stuff.
Stop
so we've
it,
kind of
like.
separated.
Yeah.
Which stop.
But these movies are still always lumped together and
Yeah.
they're always all collected together in Blu-ray and 4K.
They're obviously a loose continuity, but this is just how we used to make movies. It's like the Bond series. They
Yeah.
change tones and styles and stuff. It was more normal back
I
then.
wouldn't mind a Batman franchise again that does this, where it's like, we change the tone over time.
different directors come in.
Yeah.
That's a good point because
I've
like
always
with
said that's what they
Nolan,
should have done with Nolan. If he didn't want to do
maybe.
Rises, get somebody else in to do the third movie.
Yeah, maybe because you
Yeah.
have the Nolan trilogy, you have the Snyder era, and then Whedon for a second, and then Muschietti kind of. But and
Well,
then you have
he'll
Yates
do
doing his stuff.
Brave and the Bold.
Uh,
We'll
I
see.
mean, the
we'll
Batman
see.
stuff in Flash was the best stuff. So
Probably.
Well, I
I haven't
mean,
seen that movie in a while.
who even knows if that project's even still going to happen?
We'll see.
But I am ready.
all right, in 3, 2. I couldn't find the timer. 3, 2, 1, go. I did
So
not
one
rewatch
number
this
this
ahead of
year.
time because I can only watch this movie so many times in a day.
Oh, I'm more prepared than you.
So right off the bat, despite my issues with this as a Batman adaptation, if you were to ask me, well, why do I like this movie? Music and atmosphere. It's all music,
Oh yeah.
or it's 90% music and atmosphere. I love this.
So the
score.
atmosphere of every Tim
Shot.
Burton movie ever made.
And it's not a locked in style. I disagree with you on that. There are those Burton isms coming in, like he likes the black and white stuff, but which I'd argue just fits Penguin and Catwoman. And Gotham City. It's not like a formula yet to the Burton look, so I think it totally works here.
It would be cool if the Penguin was actually, in this movie.
He is. He's being born right now. He's a Cobblepot. Hey, he's called Cobblepot in this. He's not called Cobblepot in the TV show. This is
Turns
arguably
out
more comic
this
accurate.
is more comic accurate than the Reeves verse.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
And here we have Pee Wee Herman cameoing as the Penguin's father.
Penguin's
I love
dad. And Paul Rubens kind of had his own career of playing Penguin's dad and things because he's
Yeah.
come back. I knew he came back to do it in Gotham. I think he did it in another thing too.
Might have done
Maybe
a voice
that's all I'm
somewhere. I'm not
thinking of.
sure.
Yeah. It's an oddly specific recurring role.
This is one of the things I remember staring at to me as a kid. That just was kind of a shock to the system. Like, oh my god, we're doing this. These parents are gonna dump their baby in a river. It's
This
really
is how
messed
the
up.
movie opens, and
This family blockbuster.
yeah, I'll bring this up a few times throughout the commentary when it's most funny. But just a reminder, this movie had Happy Meal toys,
Mhm.
Yes, that's why Forever happens.
and that's why Forever happens.
So funnily enough, Noah, he's in Pee Wee or Paul Rubens is in 2 movies this year, 1992. This and the
Mhm.
Buffy movie.
Oh, and we watched the Buffy movie. I can't
We
remember
did.
where he is in that.
I think he's one of the
Um,
vampires.
That's so weird.
It's
Pee
like a
Wee's one of the
weird,
vampires in that.
weirdly cute big cast. Like, there's a lot of big names in that movie.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland and a few other people.
And I love this score
This,
so much.
yeah.
This is probably my favorite live action Batman movie score. It's everything I like about the 89
Yeah.
score, but with choir added to it, with like Christmas bells and all this stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, the 89 score is the one that's ingrained into my head. And I think that's honestly mostly because of playing a lot of Lego Batman as a kid.
Yeah.
Because that'll not leave your brain. But this is probably the better score. It's just on another level, and it improves upon it in so many ways.
It's fun.
Yeah.
This is how it's gonna go.
I mean, it's a fine score. I just don't think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I think it
I
is.
didn't say that, but okay.
Yeah, I just love the addition of the choir.
I would also argue that the Begins and the Batman score are better.
I mean, they're great scores. It's just
I love both of
better
those
taste.
scores.
This
This
is still
score I would
going.
read. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
Making
opening
the things
credits, John.
um, no, like the begin score, or the Batman score, like those fit those movies great. This is the type of music I'm more likely to listen just by itself, like apart from the movie. That's just a
I mean, that
personal
one,
preference thing.
that I can't like chime in on because I don't listen to like movie scores at all in my off time. The only time I've ever done that is just when we were reading Batman comics for the channel. I would put on like a
Mm.
Batman score.
But I will say, right off the bat, I love this opening sequence. One major issue I have with that prologue that will be a recurring problem throughout the rest of this movie for me is the scene where caged up baby penguin eats a cat. I think is a mistake and should have been cut out.
Oh, interesting.
It's
Okay.
it's if they're going for dark comedy, I get it because it's so silly and weird, and that's a lot of this movie. But to
Mhm.
me, that kind of starts this issue of, oh, so this is a monster. This isn't like an
Yeah.
innocent, just ugly baby I'm supposed to feel empathy for, who these parents are going to abandon. Oh no, he's a monster who ate a cat who's living in a cage. Yeah, now I suddenly feel less empathy for them getting rid of it.
Well,
Because
no,
now you're
this
telling me
movie
this is a
can't.
human. And that happens throughout the thing.
This movie can't decide because it'll have scenes where you're supposed to feel bad for him, and then you'll have scenes like he has that speech that's the invert of what is it, the Elephant Man, where he's like, "I
Mm-hmm.
am not a human being. I am an animal."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a penguin. I am the penguin of this story.
Now we've become the penguin.
And but I love these sets. I love Gotham in winter. I love these giant statues. This is a lot more Art Deco than the first one is, and this is very reminds me of what we do in like animated series. And it's also kind of like you can see the progression of how we get from here to the Schumacher films with the big statues and how crazy they get. Like there is kind of
Yeah.
an evolution to the architecture.
That's something that not many people talk about is everyone usually always associates the big statues with Schumacher, but it really
Yeah,
did
there
start
they are.
here.
But yeah, stylistically, 89 and this one are such an interesting pair where 89 is all the gothic stuff and this is all the art deco stuff. And then if you blended them together, you basically have animated series. And that's why animated series feels so definitive just because it's everything. And it's
Yeah.
so Batman.
Yeah, and I mean this definitely has more of the like stereotypical like Burton kind of feel to it.
Mhm.
And I mean I like Burton, so it doesn't bother me, but I do always think of these first two movies. Uh they always come to mind when I think of how does Batman look. Like
I think it's the
Mhm.
best part of this movie, Alfred.
not so much of how people are characterized and how these movies are written. It's more of the look that I find definitive
Right.
for Batman.
Yeah, all of my issues with this movie are with the writing.
And here's one of the best characters.
Yeah. Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken as the man who played Nosferatu, Max Shrek.
That's so weird. Like you think they changed the
Yeah.
first name or something. And now it feels like a weird Shrek reference before Shrek was a thing.
Because I remember when I learned who played Nosferatu, I was like, oh my god, it's Christopher Walken from Batman Returns.
His name is Count Orlok, you normie.
That's the character.
It's Mr. Nosferatu. But I don't mind Max Shrek. You know, he's a pretty one note villain, but he does feel like he could slide right into something like the animated series where you'd have like usually the evil businessmen characters who are responsible for like the freaks
Yeah.
or like origins of the main villains of the tragic villains.
Like
So
Daggett.
it's just yeah. So
So what
that's
you're
kind of
saying is
left
this
in that.
movie is written like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes,
That's exactly what we're
That sounds
saying.
about
Yes.
right.
and we can all agree that the animated series is for children and should be judged as such.
And yet it's
Now,
somehow better written than this movie.
Something that
Sometimes, yeah.
I don't hear people talk about as much is Max Shrek's son here. I always just think it's so funny because he's just doing a Christopher Walken impression,
Yep,
like right to
I
Walken's
love
face. He just comes in, he's like, "Dad, let's go."
it.
And here we're introduced to Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
Um, you're not a fan of this Catwoman, John?
No, she's barely Catwoman. Like, she's just a psychopath in a suit.
That's what Catwoman was for like 40 years.
It is the take on Catwoman.
Yeah. Oh, I love this shot of just Penguin's shadow, the umbrella in the sewers. So good.
I
That
thought
I
she was
remember
always
seeing
the
as a kid.
cat, just the cat burglar.
I mean, sometimes she's also just crazy and wants to kill Batman and is obsessed with cats. Like she's a much more like crazy, just one of the weird
The
villains. Like
problem
in
is
the
that I
six
don't have enough faith in Burton that he's actually looking at that stuff. It's just he wanted a crazy cat lady.
when this take on Catwoman and to a certain degree Penguin started to click with me was when I was like when I realized, oh, this is like looking at this the 60s show version specifically and expanding on those and giving those versions backstories and their own
Yeah.
take and depth, which I kind of like.
Tyler, I
Um,
challenge John to name 5 things he prefers in this movie than the '89.
We'll come back to you on that. No, and that's something that a lot of people don't really realize with these first two Burton movies is that they always think of them as the serious ones. They are pretty campy.
oh, very.
And this one especially is straight up a dark comedy, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. And all these movies, and you know, and Schumacher's often criticized for this. Like these are all very informed by that '60s show.
Yeah,
Even as
Is
hard
that the
as
prequel to
'89's
that
trying,
'70s show?
of
it
course.
is, yes.
You know, because even as much as '89's trying to get away from it, like it's just the influence is inescapable. And then like you said, Noah, you look at it, you know, a few decades later, it's like, yeah, no, this is still a wacky, campy movie.
Yeah.
It's just more
They
bloody and has more swearing.
they really only got away from it in aesthetic. Like it masquerades as a more serious movie, but these movies are really silly.
Hmm. People just didn't notice until the Schumacher ones.
Right.
No, it had to be like beaten over the head with it.
Christopher Walken's speech there is so good. Like, I can't afford expensive baubles.
Blobbles. Not
He should
mine.
give a Christmas speech every year. I would attend.
So, and in this, they're leaning way more into the penguin as an outcast and a
Yep.
freak type thing rather than the corrupt, kind of like gangster character that we think of
Then the
now.
one that
Mm.
is in most Batman media and comics.
Well, that he
Yeah,
evolved
but
into. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so he's got just like circus freaks as his henchmen in this movie, and I don't know. I think it kind of works.
I think they're fun. It is a weird double beat, especially when some of them look like clowns. Where it's like, wait, is there any carryover from like the Joker gang in the first movie? But I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that'll be in one of the like 6,000 novels that they're planning to
Yep.
spin out of these. They'll explain that this is the remnants of Joker's gang.
Yep. I
Bruce, why do
love
you have bat signals all over your house?
doing a good job with that secret identity, Bruce.
You're gonna give away your identity.
I mean, that shot's awesome, but
That's so cool.
again, the Schumacher movies are silly.
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm gonna praise this. This is the best shot in the movie here coming in. Right there, where he's standing in front of the bat signal. That's the best
Yep.
shot.
Oh
in the
yeah.
movie.
I just had that. Yeah.
And then, but my favorite bit before that is when Gordon's like, "Oh my god, like somebody, the signal, we need Batman," because Gordon consistently in this series is
Wait a minute.
incredibly
Is
incompetent.
useless. We love useless Gordon, folks.
What's up, Jen?
That guy that was, the bad guy that was talking was familiar.
Yeah, he's a character actor. I'm forgetting his name. I want to say he's in like Tomorrow Never Dies. I think he has the James Bond movie. I think he has a bit part in that where he has Bond at gunpoint and he has like really silly accent. It's kind of a one-off scene, but like he's a fun character actor, man. Let's see.
It is okay. This is
Vincent
gonna be. This is gonna be.
Evil.
This is gonna be slight spoilers, Robert. Sorry, but Noah, that is
Yeah.
the gypsy guy from Buffy season 2, the uncle.
Oh. Trying to remember. It's been so long.
They're the ones that uh, Angel was dealing with.
Okay, yeah. Kind of vaguely remember.
That's cool. Apparently one of the clowns in this gang is actually Doug Jones in like an early credit for him, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure which one he is.
No, so I think he's the one that steals the baby later because it kind of looks
Oh.
like him.
And
We
then
can look for it when that happens.
everyone's
check
favorite
your
Batman
messages.
scene.
Here we go.
Everyone's favorite Batman scene when he uses the Batmobile to light a guy on fire.
But this is okay. But any other time that he kills is not okay.
Yes.
I can't remember. I probably made this point in the BVS and '89 commentaries, but I'm more okay with Batman killing in these because this was an adaptation of Batman made in '89. In 2016, we all know that Batman doesn't kill people.
I mean, but arguably we already knew that in 1992.
Not the general public. I would assume.
And
No, check your Discord messages. I didn't want to spoil
Okay.
this too much if I could, but it's that.
Sure, yeah.
I do think the Batsuit looks great here. I love the way it's lit. I love that silhouette. I go back and forth, and if I prefer the '89 suit or the return suit because they're very different, but I think they fit each movie well.
Yeah, I think the suit for the most part is a huge downgrade. The weird
Yeah.
thing, like armor plating.
I think it fits the Art Deco look of this movie. The first one's more gothic. Looks
I like
more
both, but
statue.
I prefer the '89 suit.
I mean, my favorite of all these suits is probably the Forever one, which I know is a hot take, but yeah, the
I mean,
nipples
it
are
is
silly.
just
I
the
don't
better
care.
one.
Yeah, I
For
don't
for
care
this
about the nipples.
black
Sorry,
the
I like
for
that
the
suit.
black armored look, it's just inarguably the best one.
And he
Oh,
can
is it?
kind of turn his head in that one, from what I remember.
Okay, so sorry, it is the second best of the black armored look. The best is the begin suit.
Oh, I do like the Begin suit a lot.
Um,
This is when we get to that silly Saturday morning cartoon nonsense where
He's got a trap door.
that he conveniently walks on and is no way a clever plan. It's just
Yeah.
I don't that's one of the many just don't think about it moments. This miniature set is awesome.
Looks great.
Of this abandoned amusement park, and you see the ducks. I love that the duck is set up here. That's so fun.
So I think overall this movie looks a little bit better than '89 in terms of effects, because that doesn't have as many obvious matte paintings like that movie really suffers from.
Oh,
But
that's what's funny. It's because to me, it's not an issue. It's just part of the vibe.
yeah, I mean I can see that, but I do tend to think that the miniature work in this movie looks a little bit better than some of the other effects.
That's fair. This is a scene where I like to call try to spot the real penguins and try to spot the little guys in suits.
In suits, yeah. It's
Gee,
a fun
I
game.
wonder.
All the stuff though. But of course,
Here
Stan
we've got-
Winston's makeup's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, he just looks amazing, and Danny DeVito is perfect casting.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I even when I like turned around on this movie and started to like it more again, I've always been like, I love Danny DeVito in this movie, but he's not Penguin to me. On this most recent viewing, I don't know. I think I was being maybe a little bit too elitist about that. It is Penguin. It's just a very different take.
Yeah, he's got the trick umbrellas. It's fun.
He's still got the trick umbrellas. It just, like I said before, plays more into the outcast
Mhm.
um, kind of like dimension of the character, which has always been a part of the character, and it's still a part of the modern interpretation of him.
Well,
Um,
that. Oh,
you know,
sorry. Go on.
well, yeah, and that's still a big part of the Colin Farrell show,
Yeah,
which we've talked about before.
yeah. I like the way that take still integrates some of like the disfigurements and things that make him a bit of an outcast with his appearance. I like that. That's still a big part of the character. I've always liked this design. I like how it just takes it to an 11 with the weird hands. I've always
Mhm.
loved the weird hands and the big pointy nose and stuff, which is classic Penguin. And then to
Yeah,
me, I love the animated series take on it, where it's a little stripped down, but still like find that balance of this look and classic Penguin, which the creative team didn't like. They preferred just the more old school comic booky one that they did later.
So
But I don't know.
the
I like the
penguin.
contrast. He still looks like the Penguin. He's always had the pointy nose. Like I prefer that first animated series design just because I like the
I do too.
juxtaposition of his personality and his appearance. Like he's not aware. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I've always liked the penguin that fancies himself a part of high society, but really everyone just looks down on him.
Hmm.
That's what that first animated series version does so well.
Yeah.
Um, but even in this, like this version still has the connection to like the high society penguin because he's
Mhm.
still born from a rich family, even though he
Yeah.
didn't grow up in that wealth. And it still has the corrupt aspect of the character with him being a terrible person running for mayor,
All right.
which I need to see him run for mayor in the Reeves verse sometime.
Of course, that's season two. That better be season
Yeah,
two.
better be season 2.
But that is as much as I love DeVito's performance. That's my main issue. Is I just wish we got a little bit more empathy or human moments of like I get it. Uh, like so, there's that opening bit I don't like where he's a little baby monster who eats a cat. I think that's a mistake. And then at the end of this movie, they want me to feel really sad when he dies, and it's just funny and weird. Like I love it,
Yeah,
but I am like, I wish because this idea, this take of the outcast disfigured look, that stems from a sketch Tim Burton did when he was in like pre-development on this movie of Penguin as like a little kid, and it says like my name is Jimmy, but my friends call me the hideous penguin boy, and it's so sad and
oh,
funny, and it's so evocative. And it's like, oh man, like that's the problem is I think Tim Burton relates to this character and sees him as very sympathetic and tragic, but with
but the
what's on the
script doesn't.
screen, yeah, the script doesn't, and with what's on the screen, like he's just an evil monster. And I
Oh,
Yeah.
so
wish I
like
could feel
Tim
more bad
Burton.
for him. Oh wow.
We're character assassinating Tim Burton now.
I
He makes
mean,
some movies I don't like, therefore he's a horrible person.
I had to sit through his Alice in Wonderland remake.
That's true. That is worse than torture. That's a movie by him
And
I
he
cannot
remade
defend.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, he did.
That's not as bad as his Alice in Wonderland, though.
Oof.
I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah.
I refuse to watch that version.
That is a bit of dark comedy I do like though when Penguin has the
With
severed
the
hand
hand.
and uses it to shake Shrek's hand.
What do you guys think of how pathetic Selena is at the beginning of this movie?
I like it. I love this horrible pink apartment.
I mean, I have the same thing with her that Robert does with the Penguin. I don't feel bad for her. She gets what she deserves at the end of this movie.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, none of these
I don't
people
know
are
if I
good
feel
people.
bad for her. I just find her fun. When she goes full Catwoman.
Yeah. Um,
And she
I
has, I
used to
think, the
find
most
her.
cringeworthy scene, like, "Oh, you wouldn't hit a woman, would you?" And Batman actually
Oh, I don't like that.
hesitates
No, I've
Yeah,
never liked that.
I still don't like that scene.
because this movie likes to pretend that Batman doesn't kill because they want that classic Catwoman Batman dynamic of like he's
Yes.
like trying
Yeah,
to
that's a
encourage her that
problem.
she's better. I'm like, you started this movie by setting someone on fire, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, that's my main issue with the Batman killing people stuff in this, which is also my issue with BVS because that movie does the same thing. When
See,
Batman
I think that
kills
movie, especially when you get to Justice League, is more self aware of, is more aware of that it's a bad thing than you giving it credit for.
I mean, it's also the branding thing where that's all people talk about and are like, "Oh, this is the worst thing Batman's ever done." It's like when he slaughters hundreds of people in that movie. But whatever, we've had that conversation a million times. I think that's just a problem, as much a problem there as it is in
But
this
Affleck's
movie.
Batman also doesn't go around telling people you shouldn't kill, you're better than that.
I mean,
The worst part is the
it's not.
hypocrisy, Robert.
Yeah, of course. I just think him deciding not to kill Superman, in my opinion, is more effective if we didn't see him kill 200 people earlier. If he was going to break that rule to attempt to kill Superman, but whatever.
So this is highlights from our BVS commentary.
Go watch it now.
We'll just do a yearly BVS commentary.
No. All right, then we really need to retire the channel.
Wow, that's a better movie than this.
Not the theatrical cut. Say that.
The Ultimate Edition is a better movie than this. Come on.
That's debatable.
I don't know.
I just like watching Noah do like mental gymnastics trying to justify why this is like the greatest movie ever.
It is the greatest movie ever. It's the greatest Christmas movie.
I mean, look at Max Shrek's hair. Come on. It's perfect.
No, just because you've only seen like 3 movies does not mean this is the greatest movie ever made.
I'd say out of the only other comparison I can think of is Iron Man 3. There has to be more superhero movies set at Christmas, right? That's just not
Shazam.
coming to mind. Oh yeah, Shazam's, yeah. It's maybe not better than Shazam, but
This is not
prefer
better
it.
than Shazam.
I prefer it. I'd rather watch this.
And then forgetting, like, wait, does Wonder Woman have a Christmas scene, or am I misremembering?
Oh, in '84, there's a Christmas scene right at the end that feels really tacked on.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, wait, but there was a 4th of July scene. Okay,
Okay,
so
but
tries
y'all
to
are
do that.
forgetting the best superhero Christmas thing. The Guardians Holiday
Iron Man
Special.
3. Oh.
That's true. That's a great Christmas.
Yeah, no, that probably is the answer. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I also really enjoyed Hawkeye season 1, which is set
Yeah.
at Christmas. But I also don't like that now Disney's making that just like part of their formula, where they're kind of over. Like, What If just did it. Like, now they're kind of overdoing it. Like, the Disney Plus Marvel Christmas special, because Hawkeye season 2 is going to be Christmas again, and I think that's weird. Like, pick a different holiday.
Disney overdoing something? No.
Yeah, it's never happened. And like I said, I enjoyed Hawkeye, but you could pick a different holiday, do something different for season 2.
So what I'm hearing from Noah is that he loves this movie and its sequel, Catwoman, because they have the same origin.
This is the
Catwoman
20th.
is technically a spinoff of this.
That did start as a spinoff.
I know.
Movie,
It has the same stupid origin.
Well,
that one's
not
worse
exactly.
because they try to explain it and it's really dumb. This is just magic, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no. So this is a good transition into talking about the scene, because I always interpreted this as radioactive cats give her cat powers.
I much prefer.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's on screen.
Yeah, from Shrek's Toxic Waste.
Why can't she just be a trained cat burglar? Why does she have to be Magic Catwoman that has 9 lives?
Nah, I think the 9 lives
it's
fun.
Yeah.
But then, the other conversation surrounding this movie, though, is, well, does she actually die, or does she survive and this is just her mental break and she thinks she has 9 lives? lives.
That's what I was gonna get into.
I
Is
feel
that
like the movie
it's
is
clearly
pretty consistently saying she is dead, and these
Yeah, I
cats
agree.
are resurrecting her.
no. See, I think it's that she's crazy, and she's
Uh,
interpreting this as cats being resurrecting her,
But she's
and that's how it's
unconscious.
being
She shouldn't
presented
be able
by
to
the
interpret
audience.
anything.
Well, she wakes up in a second.
well, okay. Assuming I can even buy that she survives that fall, she takes. How do you
How?
explain the ending where she's
Yeah. Well,
shot
how does
multiple
she?
times and electrocuted?
Yeah.
I can't exactly
But she
because
survives that.
the movie's not consistent about it.
No, she is clearly being resurrected by these cats.
That's how it's played.
Okay, but they also make a big point of her being nuts in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Like
being
what do you
from
mean?
here,
resurrected.
She
It's
died and
it's the Lazarus Pit thing. She was
I
brought
don't.
back from the dead, and
I
it's
I
made her insane.
I really don't think that there's an actual like supernatural or magic component to this. I think that
Okay,
she's
then
just
explain,
crazy.
like Robert said, explain how she is gunned down and electrocuted, and then she's still alive. Because
Because
because the movie itself implies that now she has 9 lives.
I don't think she actually does have 9 lives though.
How does she know magically how to fight and do all this stuff that she does in the movie?
Because this takes place in a weird cartoon universe with no logic. This takes place in a universe where a woman can survive that fall.
Well, no wonder you like this movie. Any plot holes, you're like, oh, it's fine. In this universe, anything can happen.
It's not a real defense. Like that is a weird thing.
I love this scene
Get
though.
it?
Her,
She
her
likes
freaking out.
melt.
I I I remember I think it was Cap on Geek Evolution on one of his older Batman Returns commentaries. I think he said that he used to find this scene really disturbing, which I think is just really funny given how far he's come with other stuff he's now seen. Because I've never found this disturbing, so that's interesting.
The stuffed animal. What?
Yeah,
Oh, since nobody else has been paying attention to the chat,
yeah. Hi, chat.
uh, have
Hello,
you
chat.
guys seen The Shadow of the Bat Part 4? Found interesting how Danny DeVito agreed to be part of the project after Burton gave him a painting. I don't even know what that is. Someone's masterpiece anime fan is just talking to us about.
Oh, what Tyler was saying. I think he's talking about a comic that Danny DeVito wrote that I heard was really weird. Where I think Penguin hooks up with Catwoman. I've heard
It's
it's
his
weird.
fan fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyler's.
It was published by DC.
Okay, Tyler, there's Christmas scenes in No Way Home, but it's like the very end of the movie. That
Yeah.
doesn't count.
Yeah. There's also some like Christmas stuff in Into the Spider-Verse, but I do want finally like a whole Spider-Man movie that's just Christmas. I want New York covered in snow. Like I want that winter atmosphere for a whole Spider-Man.
I just
movie.
want a Spider-Man movie again with one Spider-Man. Just one.
I agree. I do think this.
Hey, look, she
scene's
found a
fun.
trash bag to make her suit out of.
Yeah, it's leather. These movies are obsessed with black leather, and it works for Catwoman.
That I can excuse. It's just the times. Noah is defending the Catwoman 9 Lives thing the same way Joker defends himself in Joker 2. I haven't seen that yet, so I can't comment. That's on Max now, and I still can't bring myself to watch it.
You will for the channel.
Oh no. Maybe for the 10-year anniversary.
That might legitimately be the final video on this channel.
It'll be a musical commentary. It'll be a sing along.
Noah will sing all the songs.
But,
Well, you just wait.
Tyler says, if
That
you're saying
movie-
that Wonder Woman 84 counts after one scene, then No Way Home counts. I mean, I didn't say
Wonder
84,
Woman 84
counted.
counts.
We've just mentioned it.
Yeah.
I know. You just said there was a Christmas scene at the end. I do
No,
love
that
shot
seems
with
very
hell here.
tacked on.
apartment.
That's a good shot. Yeah.
I will say this is a gorgeous restoration. I'm watching the 4K
Oh yeah.
transfer.
Oh yeah. No, this movie looks great.
Yeah, I wonder how the 4Ks on these sequels compare to the first one, because the first one had that backlash where they changed a lot of the sound effects on the 4K. I'm like, why would you do that? That's so
Well, my
weird.
Yeah,
understanding
I
is they
hate
did that
that.
because the original sound effects were just like stock, like last second additions. But I
All
don't
right, so this guy's Doug Jones, right?
Oh,
Or
that
no?
might be. If so,
know.
Actually, now that I'm looking at him
I'm not
again,
sure.
I'm not sure.
He doesn't look as tall as Doug Jones is, so that's why I'm not sure.
He kind of looked like him in the face a bit, but I'm not pretty. I'm not
He
completely sure.
says this movie is good and all, but nothing beats Catwoman 2004. I mean, that movie
I
is at least
mean,
funny bad.
that movie does have the basketball scene. This
But
movie
this
Yeah,
doesn't have
movie, but this movie's genuinely funny.
this movie has nothing on the level of that basketball scene.
Oh come
that.
on!
That basketball scene makes it a better '90s movie than this, and this is a '90s movie, so I'll give it that.
Hey, Robert, what exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
This. That's what I tell him. I love how just staged over the top. And okay, so this
Yeah,
is an issue in '89. That's a bigger issue here. Is how much am I supposed to hate the people of Gotham? Because at best, they're all idiots. And both movies are attempting some satire of consumerism and where we're at as people. And it's like, so am I just supposed to hate everybody in the city?
I do love
No,
that
the
Max
people
Shrek
in
and
the
the mayor
city,
immediately posed for a picture.
the people in this city, especially in this Gotham, especially in this movie, are fickle like idiots. That I'm like, why is Batman even trying? Like, all these people deserve to die.
So, will you please help me put up these Christmas ornaments? Shut up, Alfred. Do your
I'm
job.
watch. I'm watching the
Alfred,
news.
I don't
Alfred,
decorate the
I'm watching the Penguin.
tree.
I need
Watching the
somebody to
Penguin
take
on
this.
HBO.
I need somebody to take this scene and just Photoshop in the Penguin TV show, and that's what he's watching
Yeah,
on TV.
I would love that.
yeah. I do like the way the scene's lit.
Tyler says that he
What's it?
thinks the 4K discs of the sequels are really quite good. I don't have the discs, but I do. I think I have all four of these on 4K just on Voodoo. They were on sale.
Oh, nice.
Are we really
I
only
I
20
do.
minutes into this movie?
No, we're over
Yeah.
30.
Are you enjoying it so far?
Oh, sorry. I have the stream up, but it's like really behind. It was really behind. God, we're only 30 minutes into this movie.
But I do like this little moment with Bruce when he's like, "Oh, it's his parents. I hope he finds them." You know, that's a good little subtle Batman.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to be explicit about it. Like, "Oh, I'm Alfred. I'm thinking about my dead parents right now, and I hope he finds his parents that may be dead." You know, we're not too on the nose with it. It's a nice little moment.
So, I guess we could talk a little bit about Batman because another common talking point of this is he's barely in this movie.
Do you
That
have
is
any
correct.
Batman in your Batman movie?
I mean, so he's barely in it. I think outside of the whole killing thing, he's pretty well characterized in this.
Yeah.
And
Is
This
he?
is
I'd
disappointing.
argue he doesn't have a character. He just shows up to punch people.
he doesn't have an arc. He doesn't change at all. Like that's definitely a criticism you can throw at it, but I'm just saying he does feel like Batman outside of the killing part.
Does he name one character trait that this character has in this movie?
He's a detective. Look, he's doing detective
He's
work.
brooding.
He's brooding.
I'm looking at
That
Penguin.
sounds like Batman to me.
I'm looking at Penguin writing stuff on a paper.
I'm a little
Oh,
ahead of you, I guess.
okay.
Oh yeah, we're way off.
We're
I
at
love
the
that penguin. I love that penguin has the monocle in that scene, and I wish he wore it more in this movie.
same. We're at the cold soup scene.
This backstory they hint at's really disturbing with this circus gang, and you know, implying that how they came across penguin. It's exposition that's really easy to miss. because Noah, I'm sure you had this when I was a kid on first viewing. Just the way that prologue is shot with the basket, with the baby, and then the penguins. I just assumed Penguin was raised by penguins in this
Okay,
movie.
so what?
Yeah,
Uh,
that is kind of how it's presented.
so this is a nice little touch because Batman in this wears glasses, and that carries over into Forever.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's
nice.
also in '89,
That
I
is an
believe.
yeah. I like
Although
that.
it makes you wonder, are his eyes just that bad? Like, why does he be Batman? He needs glasses.
I think they're just reading
Yeah.
glasses.
Is he able to fight and drive well without glasses?
Yeah, I
Of
know. Like,
course, he's
I
Batman.
like that carries over until Batman and Robin. It's a weird choice. Like, Batman is supposed to be in peak physical condition. I wouldn't think he would need reading
Okay,
glasses.
but you can't train in Tibet with ninjas for 5 years and have them just make your eyes better. That's not how it works.
I didn't say it was.
Like, I don't know. It's okay if he doesn't have perfect eyesight. I don't care. He has reading glasses. Fine.
He's a rich guy. He can't afford eye surgery.
Oh,
I like how
1992.
Robert's first thought was ninjas fix his vision.
Well, you just said he's supposed to be in peak physical condition.
Name one other
I see,
Batman that wears
I see what
glasses.
John's saying, though.
Val Kilmer's.
That's the same Batman, just a different actor.
I do love by the time I imagine George Clooney got there and was like, I'm not wearing glasses.
Yeah.
This is so funny having conversations with John where he brings up the point, oh, it's cool that detail of him wearing glasses carries over to Forever. But fuck that, Batman doesn't wear glasses. Now I'm angry about it.
I mean, I'm not angry. I'm
Like,
just pointing out that it's a
trajectory, that's
weird
so
choice
funny.
in the first place.
Penguin lost his parents, guys.
Yeah.
That would be like if
Well,
the Arkham Batman had to wear glasses before he went out and beat people up.
yeah. Who cares?
Can you imagine like Batman in an Arkham free flow combat
I-
situation with glasses and he gets whacked off his face?
Because as someone who has to have glasses, if you have to have reading glasses, that means your vision is compromised. Batman with compromised vision is not a good thing.
I love how much time
He
we're
also
spending
can't turn
on
his
this.
neck. I don't care. This is a very compromised Batman to begin with.
But Robert, you were talking earlier about how you would have liked to see more like sympathy with this Penguin.
Mhm.
I think we get a lot of it, but it's like we were talking about earlier. The script is confused of whether or not how much you want to sympathize with him, and how much of it is he's just a terrible person.
Yeah, like I do like this scene a lot. Just my interpretation by the time you get to the end of this movie and see where he goes is I think this is just for show. Like I think he's just playing
Yeah.
this up for the crowd. I don't think he actually has any remorse. I think he's glad his parents are dead, which is potentially fine too. I just wish he talked about that stuff. I wish we got to see him like confide like in his weird circus family more. I wish we had some more intimate moments, like just talking about his childhood. Because if you weren't paying attention to that exposition scene, you're not even going to realize that these are people who raised him.
Yeah. And I think in the previous scene, Batman says, like, oh, I think he knows who his parents are. So this is, all just for show.
Mhm.
But, yeah.
I still
so
like this scene.
Yeah, it's just weirdly painted as very sympathetic when by the end of the movie, at least how I read it, is just this guy was just a piece of shit the whole time
Yeah.
and
No, he's
deserves
clearly
his
full
fate.
of shit, but the movie hasn't decided that yet.
He's
Yeah,
completely full of shit, but they're making him, they're presenting it as very sympathetic.
Hmm.
I wish that there was a little more like genuine sympathy.
Yeah, all the stuff I like or things that are hinted on are done much better in the TV show. And that show, without getting into heavy spoilers, does go with the take that oh no, he is always a monster. Like you want to like him more than he deserves.
Oh yeah,
because that
actually,
is
yeah,
a horrible person.
that
I just think
show
it's more consistent.
does this a lot better because
Mhm.
it does. He is both a complete monster and very sympathetic. I'd
Robert,
say.
that kind
I'm
of
not
looks
sure.
like one of the gangsters in Jason Takes Manhattan that kidnaps the final girl.
It probably is.
It
This is a
might be.
prequel to that.
So this is where we finally get into
And
Selena doing
meanwhile,
Catwoman
Catwoman.
stuff. Yeah.
It has that Sam Raimi Spider-Man Green Goblin
Just
issue
don't
where
roar, you
she's just kind of
moron.
screwing around. The
Hear me
big cat's
meow.
roar. Catwoman likes all kinds of cats, big and small.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
love victim
Lions are
blaming.
cats,
She
John.
saves the woman and is like, "You made it too easy."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, she is a bad
She's
guy.
projecting. I like this little bit when Bruce is sitting across from Shrek and he just tosses him that little notebook. It's one of like the two like kind of Bruce Wayne scenes you get in this movie where he's just
No,
doing Bruce Wayne stuff.
I do
I
like
wish I
this
got
just
more scenes.
because I do like getting to see Keaton actually be Bruce, like kind of comic book Bruce Wayne. I've never been a fan of the weirdo that just lives in his house and apparently nobody in the city knows who Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah, we've gotten kind of past that in this movie.
Also, what is it with Bruce Wayne just sitting directly across from people in like across in big tables? Because that also happens in
Batman.
'89.
Can you pass the salt?
You pass the salt.
You
Imagine if he
remember
threw
when
the
they
salt to Vicky.
recreated that in The Flash?
It's the worst thing ever.
I just want to see
But
that
Robin,
scene
I
in
needed to
'89.
know. I needed to hear Ezra Miller say, "Can you pass the salt?"
I never needed to hear
I just want to see that scene in '89, except he throws the salt at Vicky.
that. I do love the way Keaton plays this scene where he's just immediately into her. Like she's just so crazy and weird, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm into that."
It's just funny because
One of your opinions matters. He disagrees when it comes to every kisses me off. Oh, and we're
like
not
she
even
almost
wrong.
turns him stupid in this movie.
Yes.
Almost.
Well, yeah, because he's like under a
It
trance right
makes
now, and
him
then later you
forget
got
that he's a mass murderer for a scene.
well, and then you get that stupid "How could you? I'm a woman" part
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, and Tyler mentioned that Keaton was really trepidatious about this because he doesn't like doing sequels, and it was kind of weird where he felt like he had to play it differently, like he didn't know how you could play like the same character in another movie, and it's like, I mean, to each his own. I think that's kind of a weird
Which is
mindset, but
hysterical because he wanted to do a Beetlejuice sequel.
he did. Though to be fair, I mean that at least took 30 years. Like he was.
Well, no,
He
but he
probably didn't
wanted to
want
do
to.
that.
Kind of.
Like that started like right after the first one.
I'm just saying that he
Uh,
did have a hand in like the story and wanting to get it right. Well, whether you like that new movie or not, it's something he was passionate about. And had a hand in just playing the role. And then he comes back for the Flash, and then is almost the Nick Fury of the DC universe. Every time I remember stuff like that, I'm like,
stupid.
oh, thank God we have Gunn now. Like, what? They had some weird.
That's what
plans
makes me
for
laugh
it
at
to
all
come
these
through,
people
like,
complaining. If Gunn didn't take over, we would have 80-year-old Batman as the Nick Fury, and your Trinity would be Supergirl, Batgirl, and Wonder Woman.
and then maybe Zachary Levi's Shazam. That would be our Justice League right now.
Yeah. That universe, Snyder left a long time ago. That universe was already in shambles.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hey, he's got the monocle again. So he wears it twice. I retract my previous criticism.
2 times.
Although I will say, I love a lot of Penguin's wardrobe in this movie. I love the big top hat. I love the big coats. He also has the stupid onesie that he wears a lot. I'm like, put on the coat, man. Like, what are you doing?
Just to show off how fat he is.
Yeah, it's just like, how do we make him look as disgusting and hideous as possible?
Noah, check your Discord again.
Okay. You don't like surprises.
But yeah, this is when, again, I get it. It's going for dark comedy. It's weird and funny, but this is where the movie's losing me, where I'm supposed to have some degree of empathy, but oh no, he's also a monster who eats
He's
raw
just a
fish.
complete pig.
And I think you can still do that without going this far.
No, I mean, I think the
No,
animated
because like
series manages
he's
to do
still a
that.
human being. Like this should kill him.
Because there's the
He also has
animated,
black ooze coming out of his mouth.
there's
Maybe
the
it's 'cause he
animated
eats all
series
those fish.
episode, "Birds of a Feather," when he's like dating Veronica Vreeland, and he's very sympathetic in that episode, but he does things that are just like naturally gross to people. So that manages to do what this is trying to do better.
Yeah, that's easily the best Penguin episode of that show.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty underrated.
Still not great, but
I like it. I like the ending. That the problem is the best Penguin episodes are like the ensemble ones, like Scott. You know, he's better when he's bouncing off of the other villains.
There's not a great solo Penguin episode in my opinion, although that one probably comes closest.
I love the Mayor Penguin artwork. It's so comic booky and kind of deco-y. I want that on my wall.
I mean, it just looks like
Robert. It sounds
right
more like you should just like print stills of this movie and just hang them up. You'd have a better experience.
But I don't know if I buy this satire. A hideous, disgusting monster that people are falling in love with. That seems like a stretch.
This is also straight up just could be just a scene in It's Always Sunny.
Yes.
And he's not a deformed monster in that, he's just a guy.
Yeah. And then bits like this I'm so torn on because I love how far it goes with my nose can be gushing out blood, but I think it's funnier if this ends his mayor campaign. If it's just like, oh god, like word of this should get out. I don't know. It's one of the many things that just happens in this movie that we never talk about again because the people of Gotham are idiots, which I want to find funny and deliberate, but I don't think it is. Again, a lot
Maybe
of the
it's a little deliberate.
I don't know. A lot of the satire is real hit or miss for me in this movie.
No, this is just stupid.
It just doesn't, go far enough. And yeah, this movie got
the problem is that this doesn't come off as satire to me. This just comes off as a confused script.
It's not a great script.
And also should be said, there never was. This isn't an 89 situation that did have a better script that was very comic book Batman and then was kind of stripped down and messed with and became that movie. This movie never has a great script. Sandham comes back to write it, and it's weird and unfocused. Like they never had a script they were fully happy with, and then they just got other people on board and then just started making the movie. Like this. No, that's the thing, is as much as like, Tim Burton was proud of it and people are like, oh man, like worked so hard on this movie, we thought people would like it better, but it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, this never had a clear vision. Like he has said, I think it's pretty confused with what it's going for. Despite the elements that I like in it.
Yeah, it doesn't all come together. That is the biggest a lot of the big issues I have with this movie are from the script, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't bother me as much as it does some other people.
And I'm all for being proud of your work, but when you look at the finished product, it's like, guys, you shouldn't be surprised this was divisive. It wasn't.
No, this is the biggest evidence that
movie you made.
this is the biggest evidence that Tim Burton should never be given full creative control. Um, because you get nonsense.
Sometimes nonsense can be fun.
Tyler, is
This
this the
is
superhero that sets up the unspoken rule of you have to do two villains? Yes.
Yes.
But is that even is that I mean that's a rule that happens with the Batman films, but
Hmm.
that's not a consistent rule across superhero films.
Yeah, it's kind of vague and nebulous.
I don't think that even
So,
becomes
some fall
consistent
into that.
until in the MCU. And even then I guess it's not
Yeah,
super consistent.
like Iron Man 2's kind of an example where you got Whiplash and Just Hammer, and it
Yeah.
doesn't balance those super well.
No. But on the flip side of that you have Thor 2, which only has one villain.
And he sucks.
Yeah. Or Winter Soldier, which just has the one villain.
don't
I
most
don't count
MCU
Hydra as a
movies have
villain.
one.
That's more of a just organization. I would say this is what starts the Batman thing, because all of them will have two villains at least going forward.
Yeah.
So see, this movie's very influential.
But the only people that actually do it correctly are Nolan and Reeves.
Well, Reeves does what we should have been doing in more of these superhero movies, where there is a clear hierarchy of villains. Like you have your main villain and all these other subplots that inform it. It does the formula shouldn't be
Yeah.
just two villains team up and have equal screen time. That's not what Reeves
Well,
does.
but that's what I'm saying. Is because Nolan does that too.
Yeah.
There's always a hierarchy, even in like Rises, which I don't think works.
Mhm.
Arguably, you could say Nolan sticks to that a little too much because it's the same in every movie.
Yeah.
You have here's the main villain, and then here's like the smaller secondary villain that the main villain will probably end up creating somehow.
Yeah. I do love this scene of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman just dicking around, and that shot of her whipping those mannequin heads off is amazing. She did that on the first take. She nailed it. It's so cool.
That's awesome.
See, she's being a stealthy burglar here.
Okay, I will give this movie credit for one thing. It is nice that it's weird. It's nice, but also weird. This is the only Catwoman that has the whip.
She does in the Batman, but she only uses it like once.
I legitimately
I
don't
don't
remember. So
remember
you,
that.
I
It's
Yeah.
okay. Remember the? It's like right before the Batmobile. Is it before the Batmobile chase? No, I don't remember. But it's when him and Catwoman. It's like in the middle of the movie, and they're beating up like some of Penguin's thugs. Maybe it's later. Now I'm blanking on what it is. But there's like one guy walking past, and like she whips a guy in the leg and like pulls him under a car or something, and like takes him out. Like there's a little action bit where him and Batman are beating some guys up. But yeah, she doesn't use it a lot.
there's a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah. One day we will do a commentary on the Batman. Maybe we'll get to it next
We
week.
love psychopath Batman that blows people up and smiles about it.
He does that in BVS.
He does not smile about it.
He might as well. He gleefully blows up so many people.
I would respect him more if he smiled about it.
No, you are right though. They do shoot this suit very well, even though I don't think it's as good as '89.
You're not the
And
mayor.
maybe the part of that is because I've now seen the Flash, which just like puts it in broad daylight, and it looks really awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is when I think the movie starts to get a little messy, juggling its plots, where now all of a sudden Batman's like, oh, you're not running for mayor. I'm gonna stop you. It's like, oh, okay, this kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like why does he want to stop him? This is one of 3 penguin plans in this movie.
Yep. And oh yeah, Catwoman's here.
But they do mostly spend time on the mayor plan until that goes wrong.
That's
Yeah,
true.
and then they move on to
So-
the next plan until that goes wrong, and then they move on to the next plan after that goes wrong.
But what I'm saying is the movie's mostly focused on the first one, and I don't know. The other two don't. The last one kind of comes out of nowhere, but the second one's um, referenced. It's foreshadowed.
Hey, look, there's another big statue. And
We're
I
at
do.
everyone's favorite scene.
Again, though, I think her suit looks great. It's one of my favorite live action Catwoman suits.
Yeah,
It does that 90s thing where it's black leather, but there's at least a little more detail and personality to it. It also just fits Catwoman.
well, I was just
So I
thinking, at
don't
least
think.
in terms of cinematic Catwoman, I think the only one that comes close is Hathaway. Just in
Yeah, I know.
terms
I
I
of-
don't.
like that one fine.
yeah,
I
no, I
don't
think
think
that one.
I've said my big hot take, which might not even really be a
Oh,
hot take, but it's something that I can see John getting really mad at me for saying. Uh, Michelle Pfeiffer's still my favorite live action Catwoman.
I don't think that's a hot
More,
take.
it's not a hot take. She's very popular.
No, people
but
put this movie on a pedestal, and it's really weird. But it's whatever.
No, I
I
love her performance. Like, this is not my favorite take on Catwoman by any means. I just love the look and the performance. It's all about the vibes.
yeah,
Hathaway's a lot closer to my Catwoman, but I still have issues with how that movie handles her.
but I
And Zoe
also
Kravitz is
Catwoman,
probably
I
my
like.
favorite, just because it's the only one that gets that she's not actually a love interest. Like he can want to be with her, but at the end of the
yeah,
day, they can't.
Yeah, that one handles that stuff.
But no, I
I like
like
how, I
I
like
like
how
Anne
that's handled.
Hathaway quite a bit in Rises.
This gets that too. Um,
Mhm.
but I like it. But that movie's just better written, of course.
Okay,
Okay,
this is something
but
that
this
well,
kitty litter thing, she did not die from this.
I agree,
So the
and she
whole
will
nine
act like she
lives.
does later.
See, that's why I think she's just crazy because she clearly did not die.
Yeah, that's the big scene that, like, to the audience, if you know movies, it's like, yeah, obviously she survived that fall because you just do it in a movie like this. But then we'll act like that killed her later, and then again,
Okay,
at the end of this
so
movie,
I'm gonna
she
play
is
devil's
shot and
advocate.
electrocuted.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Maybe the idea is that kitty litter is only there because it traded one of her lives.
Sure.
I mean, it's all
See,
vague and nonsensical in the first place. So
and like we keep saying, this movie's not very well written. So I think the idea is supposed to be that she is just nuts and interpreting all of this as she's dying, using up one of her other lives. But then that gets muddled right at the end when you see her come back.
Yeah. Well,
And
and like
even in the beginning, like how did she even
I will
survive that
meet you in the
fall?
middle that maybe on the script she's crazy. I fully believe Tim Burton thinks she's a crazy reincarnated cat lady.
I'm with John on that.
Yeah, so it
That's
could just be a problem with adaptation, like
why
from the
else would
scripts.
you shoot the scene with her body with the cats that way? Like that is shot like a resurrection scene.
Well, I guess the idea is it's getting into her head, like this is how she's interpreting
Yeah,
those
which is a very
events.
Burton thing. There is a much more subtle way to do that scene to lean into your point, Noah, of, oh, she's just crazy and thinks she has 9 lives, but to us, she's just surviving all these horrific events. The way to play that scene is no, she just falls on the ground, she's knocked out for a bit, maybe her eyes are all back. You have one cat come up and like lick her
Yeah.
face for a second because, oh, look, food. And then she wakes up and then stumbles back to her apartment. That's a lot more vague and like, oh, is she now resurrected or is she just crazy? Did she just have a nervous break? That's the subtle way to do that idea,
Yeah.
not 50 cats coming up and chewing on her, and her eyes like fucking freaking out. Like it's played like a resurrection, like out of a Hammer movie or something.
I I still think that scene works. The big problem is number one, how high she fell from that
Yes,
from
that's
that
another thing.
and how does she survive the end? But I think much like how we can't decide whether or not Penguin is a sympathetic villain or an irredeemable villain, we can't
Yeah.
decide how much Catwoman is a supernatural thing or not.
Right. And scenes like this, I think, are fun because of the performances, but this is where it feels tropey. Where now it's like, oh, because he knocked her off a building. It's like I want Batman. This feels very stock or would become stock of just, oh, this is kind of obligatory and kind of
And
in weakly motivated.
but I think this also goes back to the '60s show influence, specifically too with the movie where all the villains
Mm.
teamed up.
Yeah, like
This is the one where we do the obligatory team up now.
Mm.
But yeah, then it did become a trope in the movies later.
yeah.
Um, but you got
I still think the motivation's weak. Like he knocks her off a building. Like they're fighting again. Unless to your point, it's the Eddie's just well, she's crazy. Then that's fine. But now it's not just oh, I want to kill Batman. I want to
oh
destroy his reputation. Why? Why does she care about Batman's reputation? These are questions I'm asking myself while I'm watching this that make it kind of frustrating.
I think it's just as simple as he got in
She's
her
crazy.
way. Well, no, he got in her way.
I just don't know. Oh,
I
doing
don't.
what? She's just sticking around.
1 second.
No, I know that 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 might not be good enough of an excuse for you, but I think that is what it's supposed to be.
Okay. Again, I like this movie. There's just stuff like that that I feel like you could have fleshed out more. And I like the Penguin running from air stuff. I just feel like we kind of speed through it or kind of put a stop to it to do this stuff. When I'm like, oh, let's build up more of that mayor campaign. I think that's fun. But we have to talk about this scene, which is disgusting, and I can't believe she did it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, she
You know
actually
what I'm
put a
talking about,
bird
right?
in her mouth.
Yep. That is, PETA, would not let that happen today.
No way.
As far as
I
I
mean,
know, the bird was okay, but it
they
seems
were
like a bad
probably
idea.
they were probably pissed about it back then, I imagine.
Probably.
A plan is forming.
I've
See, his
seen
plans are
Candyman.
always
I've seen
changing.
worse.
And yeah, an anime fan, I just have to agree to disagree. He says he doesn't think Batman films need to have logic. I prefer them to have an internal logic. You need to
Yeah,
go
same.
full 100% Looney Tunes, or go quote unquote grounded. Just have an internal logic. That's my issue with this movie. Is I feel like the movie's confused on how supernatural it is or isn't, and all this other stuff. That's my issue.
I agree with that.
I love the '60s because that is full camp insanity, and it's very consistent with its own style and tone. This movie, I don't think has a super consistent tone.
There is just an inconsistency to both of these Burton movies,
and then the Schumacher ones, because like Batman and Robin is like 85% a really just wacky, crazy camp fest, and then there's like that 15% drama with Alfred that it really wants to play seriously and be genuine. It's like, guys, this does not match the rest of the movie you're making.
And even Forever, like that's a little bit more consistent tonally, but I think that there is a more serious Batman movie waiting to get out in that.
Which is why we need the Schumacher cut.
Which is what, yeah, we need that
because
cut.
like Forever is my favorite of these. As if we're just talking as a Batman movie, as a Batman adaptation, I think that is the best Batman movie of these. Again, I just have issues with the tone.
I so desperately want a clip that's just slightly out of context where he says Batman Forever is just the best of them. Not of these, just the best Batman movie
ever.
Hey, I bet it's a lot of people's favorite Batman movie ever.
Unfortunately, that movie kind of gets lumped in with Batman and Robin. Like people just
It,
kind of think of them as the same movie.
It does, but
which I disagree with.
I think you see a lot of people defend Forever specifically, though.
I don't know. I've always felt that was the most underrated of these four.
I think so too. And I also think the majority of people who defend Batman and Robin also shit on Forever and are like, well, Forever's problem is it doesn't go far enough with the camp and the weirdness. I like Batman and Robin because I've seen this comment many times and I just don't agree with it.
Also, Batman and Robin or Batman Forever has like the best Robin suit.
It does.
That armored look just translates really well to the green and red Robin.
I've always liked that suit. I have an action figure of it behind me.
Yeah.
So you know I like it.
And has, I think, the best 60s reference where he's just like, holy, what is it he says?
Holy
Fully
rusted metal.
rusted metal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Batman's like, what?
It's all holy.
Scenes like this age weird, where it just
Oh, God.
I can't not see like a Harvey Weinstein type cloud over this.
You're just
Oh,
saying
God.
that because he's a little bit ugly.
No,
I'll
this
give
was
Penguin this. He's better looking than Harvey Weinstein. I'll give him that.
this
He
was
doesn't
this
look
is
like that
Tim
one orc
this is
from
Tim
Return of the
Burton's
King.
fantasy.
Ugh. But and then again, I have issues with like the girl who gets kidnapped and treated really poorly later, and it's like, okay, this is one of the people of Gotham I kind of want you to make me care about, but then she's played as such a ditzy
Yeah.
blonde stereotype idiot that it does kind of lessen her death scene for me, and for me that's kind of an issue.
This movie's
I
very
wish
cynical.
it is, which is why I said like I think this movie wants me to hate Gotham because I don't like any of these people.
Now, you kind of get to the end of this movie and you're just like, oh shit, that all just happened. You don't learn anything from this experience. I don't know. I think that's also why it's kind of appealing to me because of how deeply cynical this Christmas movie is. I'm surprised we reference Vicky as much as we do in this.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's just weird.
No, I
Or it's
always thought it was
unusual.
weird in all of them because I think each of them mentions the love interest from the previous movie.
From the previous. I mean, I like
Except
that.
Batman and
I
Robin,
like
where
that.
even the love interest in that movie just
Yeah.
disappears.
It doesn't matter. I don't know. I kind of like that through line or paying attention. You know, it's not doing the Bond or the Indiana Jones thing where you just have a different love interest each movie and just never acknowledge the previous one. I prefer a bit more continuity.
I mean,
Unless
nothing will
it's
beat
Tracy.
Meridian Chase and her quest to fuck Batman.
I mean, she is the best one, objectively.
You would say.
I guess. Her defining character trait is that she's horny.
Yeah.
That's why
You know,
he
I
likes
forgot-
her the best. It's horny
I
Nicole
was gonna say,
Kidman.
is that why you like her, Robert?
Well, I forgot that John was such a Vicky Vale stan. I didn't realize he had such high thoughts on all the other love interests in this set of 4 movies.
I mean, I'm also pretty sure I complained about Vicky Vale like a lot in our '89 commentary. No, my favorite is what is it, Julie Madison from Batman and Robin? She just disappears.
There for no reason.
He's just there.
Julie.
I don't know. See you boys later. It was fun to listen to the stream. If you're up for Rivals later, let me know. Have a good night, Tyler, or day, or whatever time it is in Australia.
Night. Have a
The
good
ice.
time.
The Ice Princess of That's just the way this is framed with Gordon on the TV with battering. This is purely circumstantial. Batman didn't do it.
Gordon is Batman's biggest stan.
And he's in like 3 scenes of this movie.
So I think if I remember correctly, after he's framed, or after like they see him like supposedly push the Ice Princess, he's still defending Batman.
But I do like that Bruce and Selena scene. I like the way they play it, and then with them both coming up with their own excuses, like this stuff's fun. This feels like the most comic booky Bruce Selena stuff to me.
I think Keaton and Pfeiffer have good chemistry in this movie.
Me too. And I like this Alfred scene a lot. Both of their interactions with him.
I will relay the message. And I think of the four, this movie has maybe the best performances from the cast.
I'm gonna agree with that.
Like Pfeiffer's really good in this movie.
Mhm.
DeVito's great.
I love the way she plays this scene. like,
Yeah,
hey, can you tell Bruce can you come up with a sonnet or a dirty limerick or
Jenny
something?
Limerick.
I have always wanted to quote that, and there is never an appropriate situation to drop that
I will
quote.
I will meet you in the middle, um, Noah, and say that this is the only one where I can think of that I can't think of like a performance that I dislike more than anyone else. Like it's pretty
Okay.
consistent.
And I love Batman Forever. I think it's underrated, but Tommy Lee Jones' Two Face does not work. It is the big, to me, the main problem with that movie.
But I mean, for what the movie is, Uma Thurman and Arnold Schwarzenegger are great in
Yeah,
Batman and Robin.
and Uma Thurman, like, because Arnold Schwarzenegger is just like that's just wrong casting, but it's so funny.
But it's
That's part of the
good.
enjoyment. With Uma Thurman, though, it's like, no, she nails Poison Ivy. Like, she just
Yeah.
is the campy version of that character. And people act like, even in animated series, like, that's a very campy character. Like, I don't know.
No, she's straight up
Her
just a
Ivy's always worked for me. Like, that's just Poison Ivy.
yeah. Uma Thurman's straight up just a '60s Batman villain in that,
Mhm. Yeah,
which is
which,
great.
in my opinion, is still, at that time, what Ivy was in the comics. Because
Mhm.
even in animated series, she's very kind of one-dimensional and evil. And insane. Like, she's not like the
Yeah,
anti-hero Ivy that she's become in recent years.
we've never really had a version of Poison Ivy that I've really cared about or connected with all that much.
Yeah, I've always liked Poison Ivy. It's hard to say like what the best version is because I kind of agree with you that there isn't like quite that definitive take yet,
Yeah, I'd like there
unless you
to
count
be
Ivy
someday.
Pepper. Maybe the Gotham version's your
No, because that one's really confused, and they
favorite.
like all the characters. They don't know what to do with her.
Isn't she played by like three different actresses over the course of
Yeah,
the film?
they age her up twice, I think. So they switch three actresses.
Oh, that's so funny.
God, we got to do all that show sometime. That show is very influenced by this movie.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Um, and then scenes like this, I'm conflicted about because on the one hand, I like that Catwoman's mostly just a villain in this, but again, she's I don't know. I have issues with this.
Eat floor,
Uh,
high fiber.
this fight's very silly. Is this where we get the "How could you? I'm a woman," or was that
That was
No,
earlier, I
that
thought.
they're on a rooftop.
Yeah,
earlier? Okay,
yeah, that was
Did we
earlier.
miss it?
so
Yeah.
we talked over it. Yeah, but like Catwoman, like again, the end of this movie wants me to feel bad for you, but you are a terrible person. And this is to your point, Noah, where the movie is clearly going for dark comedy. I guess I just wish they dialed that back. Like with the Ice Princess, I kind of
Yeah.
wish they milked the drama around this a little more and made me feel more bad for her. Because what we do to her is very messed up and weird. And
Yeah,
dumb. Again, like why is she standing on this ledge? Like step down. Like it's just so contrived and awkward.
it's very contrived. Like how would they know that Batman is gonna go up to the ledge?
Yeah, it's not as contrived as the Max Shrek trap door, but it's
No,
close. Like you said, this is just very mean spirited.
this movie's so mean.
Although this shot's epic of all the bats coming out of the Christmas tree. And then Batman, who's like, "Oh shit, this looks bad. So I'm gonna do is jump down and glide over these people around the bats
Yeah,
and make myself look very
I'm
guilty."
gonna look more like a villain than they already think I am. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I like a lot of what this movie's trying to do. I think the big thing
Mm.
we keep coming back to is the script is not great and it's very poorly executed.
And then in the following scene, what's gonna kind of start the rift between Catwoman and Penguin, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't think you were gonna kill her." Like she seems upset about it, which is like, "Oh, okay, there's still some humanity here." That's not present in this scene. Like she doesn't seem phased or upset about it here. That she's now
Yeah,
an
but
accomplice to murder.
I don't think she'd let that. I don't think she'd let Batman see that. I think she's just trying to save face here. But I don't know. All she cares about is getting Batman,
Hmm?
whether or not her motivation works for you.
Well, and again, I part of my issue too is like for the last 10 minutes we've just kind of pumped the brakes on the Penguin Mayor subplot, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I wish we were doing more with that. This feels like a side
Yeah,
tangent.
and then it's gonna end in a second
Yep.
after the car chase scene.
And also, this begins, of course, everyone's favorite two-part Batman theatrical experience where Batman is framed for murder and everybody hates him and is after him, and then it's just dropped and not resolved at the end of the movie. We do that in this, and we do that in Mask of the Phantasm, back
Oh,
to back.
see, I thought you were gonna talk about Penguin either stealing or hijacking the Batmobile, which is
Well,
what's
that's
about to happen.
classic. Yeah,
I have never been a fan of this trope.
I mean the
It's
Batmobile
fun.
sequence is peak. But yeah, I think I want to say it was on Geek Evolution where like Kat talked about it, and I never even realized that never occurred to me before that both in this and Mask of the Phantasm, like, oh yeah, the people have got Batman and think he's a murderer and want to catch him, and then it's just dropped. These
Yeah.
subplots are not resolved. At least in this movie, the Penguin is defeated and there's a body, so I guess there's some closure. In Mask of the Phantasm, I guess everybody just gets over it.
That also
Moves
just
on.
again adds to how sad and cynical this movie is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Also,
see,
a
to
penguin
you
is
it's a
just an
deliberate
incel.
choice. To me, it's not. Oh yeah. This sequence is pretty cool though. Or you
I'll
get
be
to see
right
just
back.
how
You
big
two hold
this
down the
is.
fort.
Sure.
Go do it. Let's see, like, okay, this counts as a kill. This clearly is a kill. And if you expect me to believe, oh no, she survives this fall, I call bullshit, sir.
Well,
Look
that's
at
fine. I mean, that's fine if you call bullshit.
that.
I'm just not certain in the script she was
Yeah.
meant to die in here.
But okay, so like but like okay, let's go with your take. She's crazy. She thinks she dies. That's how she plays this scene, where she screams and the glass shatters, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
The kitty litter scene is played as a joke, and she doesn't seem phased by it whatsoever. Like, oh, and she says "saved by kitty litter." In the context of that scene, it is not played like she thinks
A
she's
death.
died.
It's not
But
played
then
as a death.
she'll later say, "Oh, Batman killed me." It's like, no, he
But I
didn't.
don't think it's played as a death in the greenhouse scene either, because there's no moment of her like
No, she's already said like, "Oh, Batman killed me. I want to kill him back." And then later in the movie, she'll say, "Doesn't she have that speech where she's like, Batman killed me,
killed
Penguin
me,
killed me?"
Shrek killed me.
Yeah, so that would be referring to
Um,
the greenhouse scene.
no, I know it's supposed to be that. It just as you're watching the movie, it doesn't really read to you as a death, or to me at least. I was always confused by that
Mm.
aspect of the movie.
I still think the
Um,
greenhouse one plays more so like that than
but
the
that's the
cat
thing
litter
is
one.
that there's no moment of her like just seeing her body Like, there's no moment of like her looking dead. She just falls through the greenhouse and then
Mm,
immediately gets up.
yeah.
So it never
Again,
really,
okay.
and it never really like
And the cat
tracked
litter
with
thing
me
is the
that.
same thing.
Yeah, no, I know.
uh,
But
I love
I'm not,
this
I'm not, I'm
penguin.
not sure what
Yeah.
it's supposed to be.
uh, I love disc drive in the Batmobile. I miss that. That's something that's like nostalgic now. When you see like old like CD players and disc players and stuff, where it's like, oh shit, that's like dated now. But I love it. uh,
We also got to
I
bring
love
back TV screens in the Batmobile.
yeah, for sure. I miss that. I love Penguin's little Batmobile. His little
I don't
like
understand how any of
other.
this like technology works,
Nope.
but
It
it's
feels like
fun.
there's a subplot that was cut out of, hey, boss, I stole the plans to the Batmobile. Like, now they just have them.
They just have them, and they have this little orb thing that can hack all of it,
Yep.
except for a sensor in the Batmobile that says that there's a foreign object on it.
that that establishing shot of the van that says "come" on it is just shaking. I just want there to be a cutaway of somebody like, oh god, like what's our what's our potential next mayor doing in there? Like,
I'm surprised there wasn't a joke like that in this
but
scene.
that's crass. This movie is feels like a missed
Yeah.
opportunity. I do love the way Keaton plays that. Like, oh shit, I'm about to die. Before he like punches
Oh yeah,
through
when
and
he's
tries
like,
to.
oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no, he's great in
Um,
this scene. I also love that Penguin controlling the Batmobile and causing all this carnage. There is still less collateral damage here than Zack Snyder's Batmobile chase scenes. Those are still more destructive than
take
this.
that, Snyder. We're throwing more shots at you.
Yep. I, I love it when Batman gets pissed and then punches the TV screen.
Yeah, it's
That
like
feels like that happened.
you just destroyed your own property.
Alfred, I'm gonna need another one right away, sir.
He's like the Joker in '89. He just keeps destroying TVs.
Yeah. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, I like that moment.
Yeah. I also like that in canon, I guess this is just the final use of this Batmobile. Like, this is just kind of a one time only use, which then explains why he has to rebuild it in Forever and why it looks different. That's my
Yep.
head canon.
How do you explain why it looks more toyetic?
That I mean, this is one of my favorite Batmobiles, but I do like the Forever one.
Oh,
Oh, you're not.
I don't really care for either of the Forever and Robin Batmobiles.
I much prefer the Forever one. The only thing is, it just drives weird. There are some scenes of it going down the street where it's like bouncing up and down, and like the fins are flapping. Those shots
Yeah.
don't look great.
Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
and
no,
again,
that's the last time we see the Batmobile, because it's the Batboat after this.
no, you will see
Huh?
that Batmobile again in the Flash when it's just sitting there.
That movie doesn't exist in my brain.
I can't
It
believe the
really
first
does, Brian.
footage we got of that movie was, hey, look, it's the '89. Okay, John, you'll agree with this rant. I can't believe that the first footage we get of the Flash movie is, hey, look, it's the '89 Batmobile. Get ready. They never drive it in the movie. It's just sitting there.
I can believe that.
Damn it.
That movie's
It
entire
sucks.
gimmick is, remember '89?
Yep. But they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, because there's no creativity in that movie.
Noah, how do you feel about this joke about letting Vicky in the Batcave? How do you feel about them addressing that criticism?
It's just funny because then this movie got more criticism.
Yeah.
So it's like I always think it's funny when sequels do stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, but you're also flawed.
I love this Iron Maiden entrance to the Batcave, which seems really unsafe and like a bad idea.
I'll take the stairs.
I want the B-roll of Michael Keaton just going down that little slide. Like, how many
Do you
takes
think
was that?
you think there's a take where he goes wee?
Whee! I there better be. I do like the scene with Alfred though. It's fun seeing Alfred do accomplice stuff with Batman's plan.
So so Batman not only he got the penchant for destroying TVs from Joker in the first movie,
Yep.
but he inherited Joker's magical power to hack television.
Yeah.
Uh,
I and like Batman starting this like uh kind of retaliating against Penguin and killing his campaign is really funny and I like it. But we just talk about like the smear campaign against the actual mayor, and I wish that was at the forefront more. That all happens in the background. I think you could have a lot of fun with that. Again, just the Penguin running for mayor stuff. I wish we did more with.
that almost could have been its own movie.
Yep.
Um,
But this
I
scene
think
is really fun.
it is fun. I think people tend to throw this movie being overstuffed as a criticism, which I can see, but
It
it
is
doesn't
totally
really feel that.
overstuffed.
It doesn't
I
really feel that way to me when I watch it.
I'm like in the middle of you guys because I don't think it
No,
exists
we
that
know
it's
you think this
overstuffed.
is a perfect film. It's okay.
It's flawless.
I think it's just I think there's just a balancing issue because you look at the Batman and that is like twice as many main characters as this movie does. It just knows how to use them better.
Robert,
What
I'm
to pace
sorry.
better.
I'm sorry, but you just talked over him scratching the CD.
that
How
that's a
dare you?
'90s bit. The hey '90s.
You can't scratch a CD. You're gonna destroy it.
Although I do love that little player with the little bat symbol on it.
That is
It's
pretty
great.
fun. Yeah,
That's a prop I want to own. Somebody
I
find that.
want that. I want a real CD player like that.
Yeah. And hello, Jareth. Nice to see you in the live
Hello,
chat.
Jareth.
They are throwing lettuce and tomatoes at him, and this is for sure the best joke of the movie. This is the most quotable
Someone who
one.
brings eggs and tomatoes to a
To his
speech.
speech, and he uses the umbrella to deflect it. And he just starts shooting. It's so
Just
good.
shooting into the crowd.
I love the way this escalates.
I love it. Yeah.
They betrayed me. I'm fed up with this world.
Yeah. So he really just is a petulant child. He doesn't get what he wants and he lashes out. And we're
Yep.
supposed to sympathize with this guy.
Yep. And there it is. There's the best vehicle in the movie. This is so awesome.
So I know that we got a lot of this in the DLC for Arkham Knight, but I still really want some sort of like Batman racing game where
Me
you
too.
can do not just like the Batmobiles, but like other vehicles, and then you could have the Duck as one of the alternate vehicles that you can play as.
No, it's so good. The Joker mobile, of course.
The Joker Mobile, uh, just I don't know, like Robin's bike or whatever. Just
The
trying to think of other.
Penguin submarine from the '66 movie. Just drive that through the street.
Yeah. Well, you could do like underwater
Just good.
courses.
Oh, sure, yeah, with the bat boat.
Uh, yeah, I just really want that game.
Yeah, and this is again where I think the movie's confused, where it's not sure is this a plan B if the mayor thing doesn't work, or was this always his plan? Because remember, he's looking up the names of these kids way early
From the
on,
beginning, yeah.
and then the mayor idea is Shrek's idea that he talks him into. So, but the way it's framed here is like, oh, they turned on me. I hate them. Okay, time for plan B. But it's like, yeah, but this is what you were originally going to do. And again, it feels kind of confused.
Yeah, I guess it's
This
just
movie
supposed to be
confused in its
Shrek
writing? No.
convinced him to do the mayor thing, but yeah, it would be nice if we actually got any like conversation or like
Yep.
Penguin
Yep.
got to actually like talk about this.
And I love this scene where this really sad looking henchman's like, oh, what if we don't do that? And then he gets shot and killed, and it's really sad. And makes me wish, like, oh, that guy could have been like a character. Like, I wish we saw him in the movie prior to, there's just little moments like that. Like, oh, you could have fleshed that out. Like, I wish I knew that guy's name. So when Penguin kills him, it's like, oh shit, like that's fucked up. It's a great moment. I just wish there was more build up to it.
It's almost like this movie needed to be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
What do you say to that, John?
No.
I do like
Release
this.
the Burton cut.
I do like this masquerade scene, and I've heard the song choice here criticized as being very '90s and out of place, and I don't know. It's more in the background. It's never bothered me. How do you feel about that, Noah?
It's more in the background, yeah. I prefer the song that comes up next, which was the one song written for this movie. They went from a whole album in the last
Right.
movie to just
Yeah.
one song.
And
But
I
no,
don't mind
that
it.
song's kind of cool.
Yeah. And again, I've heard a criticism that, oh, that makes it very 90s and more dated than 89. And I'm like, I fundamentally disagree with that. Like, that movie stops for 2 Prince music videos.
Yeah, no,
That cements it in the 80s.
That's very 80s.
Yeah, this is more in the background, and I think, and I don't even hate the Prince. It's just, it's just there.
So you got a bit of
I think this is
obvious
pretty
visual storytelling here where it's Bruce and Selena are at a mask ball, and they're the only ones not wearing masks because these are their masks.
I do love
Brilliant writing.
It is obvious, but I like it.
The only thing the scene's missing is I wish the guy in the bear suit walked by from The Shining.
Why do you want to see that?
I can believe that takes place in this universe. I mean, already
The
has Jack
Shining?
Nicholson.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah. But according to you, this is a grounded movie where there's no supernatural stuff.
This movie's not very well executed, if you haven't noticed.
You go from, but you also love this movie. That's fine.
I do.
No, again, like I said up front, I like this movie for vibe, atmosphere, music. Love the music, like the performances. It's just, I have my issues with it. But the thing is, it's like I'm both laughing with this movie and laughing at it. Like, you can do both. Like, I do enjoy making fun of some of this movie's problems.
No,
but
and
it's still entertaining. Like, I don't find this movie boring or anything like that.
But I think I'm mostly on the same page as you, Robert. I just like it more. Like a lot of the things that you have issues with just don't bother me as much.
Yeah. And I love this bit when she pulls out the gun. The look on Keaton's face.
His face.
Oh, shit. It's so good.
But here's the scene that I guess is a bit of, to use like video game terms, is like ludonarrative dissonance. It's like the script's telling us one thing, that Batman has a no-kill rule, but the movie's telling us a different thing.
Right. I don't mind the mistletoe line.
I like it. Yeah.
That's a fine callback. I do need to step out for just a minute. I'll be right back, guys.
No worries. I think the way Pfeiffer plays this scene is really good.
In isolation, I think this is a quintessential Batman scene. It's just in the context of this movie, it's nonsensical.
Of this movie, it doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, because this movie is written as if Batman has a no-kill rule.
Yeah.
But as we've seen from the action scenes, it's clearly not the case.
Well, yeah, I think to because Nolan kind of takes that one scene and makes it Batman and Catwoman's entire dynamic in Rises. I think that's the one thing that kind of works in that movie.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though
I'm not a.
Nolan also can't decide if that Batman kills or not.
Yeah, even from the first movie,
I don't have to say I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
I
It's
have to save
probably
you.
the dumbest thing.
Yeah, I used to love that when I was younger, but I'm not a fan of how Raish goes out in that movie now, as much as I like it.
Yeah, it's like the one. Why are we doing like a Moses thing now?
I just because he was abandoned as a kid, so he's taking revenge on all of the kids. I don't know. I'm not convinced of how Walken convinces him not to take his son, but take him instead.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if he really wants revenge on Shrek, he would probably make him suffer more if he killed his son instead of just killing him.
It's almost like it's inconsistent. That you need a
Yeah.
stronger scene of Shrek like turning on Penguin for that to work. Although that duck does look adorable with that
I love all these
helmet.
penguins.
And there's little penguins in the back.
Yeah.
That's what I find so funny too about the animated series, how much Tim didn't like being like stuck with the returns look for Penguin. But they also put the duck in there. His duck vehicle. It's like, was that a mandate? Was that a studio mandate for
I
like the
forgot
third
he also
Penguin
had the
episode?
duck.
It was like, hey, you better put that fucking duck in there. We've got a lot writing on that.
He probably only has that in one episode, though, right?
Yeah.
There's no way that's a recurring
Oh,
thing
I
with
wish.
Penguin.
Oh, he's got the cute umbrella.
I grabbed a cute one. So, I mean, this is darker than anything in the Nolan movies.
I mean, I guess in terms of subject matter, but
Killing children?
I mean, hypothetically, if that bomb goes off and rises, that's also a lot of dead children.
It is.
Like,
I guess it just feels that way because
this is such a small part of the movie. I always forget about it. It just feels like such a non-threat. Like, we need an extra
yeah.
thing to do with it. This feels like it should
Well,
have had a lot more build up. You know,
it's set up, but it does.
it
If
is set up.
you're not really paying attention, it does feel like it comes out of nowhere.
It,
Um,
in a more detective-oriented movie, I wish there were more seeds planted throughout of like, what's Penguin's doing? What's his end game? Like,
it's
oh
also
fuck, he's going after
dropped.
the kids.
It's also dropped really fast.
Yeah, like I wish Batman figured it out. Of he's gonna go
Yeah.
after the kids. That's his plan. Like that's what we do. If this was an animated series episode,
Yeah, because Batman only really has one stock detective work scene in this
yep.
movie.
I
I
do.
love that he's got little note papers with his logo on it.
It's so good. And again, very 66.
Yeah.
That close up. Do you know the story about the monkey with Danny DeVito?
I don't think I do actually.
It tried to rip off his nuts.
Really?
What?
Yeah, like he was filming that scene with the monkey where it hands him the letter, and it just freaked out, jumped up, grabbed onto his crotch, and ripped off a piece of his costume
Oh
and
my
ran
god.
off. But he had like, of course, like 2 feet worth of padding in
Yeah.
that giant suit that he wasn't injured. But he said that monkey ripped off a big chunk of that costume
Oh
and
god.
ran. So that glad he avoided that injury.
Yeah, that would have been. It
Also
almost sounds like the monkey or the chimpanzee from Phenomena
Yeah.
with Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't, I
and
don't know if
again,
you know anything about that, Robert, but we reviewed that movie
I
once.
remember you guys mentioning that. Yeah. This scene looks amazing. I love his theater of penguins that he gives a speech to. And again, as a kid, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, they're his family. They raised him. He has never once interacted with these circus people. They raised him or were his family.
He's
It's-
just lived in a sewer with all these penguins. All of his. I love the little heel flick he does.
yeah, so good.
Like DeVito's having so much fun.
He is.
You gotta.
And
It's infectious.
it is. And now we have nobody's favorite Batman vehicle.
The
It's
Bat
the
jet ski.
gotta sell a toy. It's so lame.
And I love the music here.
Oh, it's so good. No, I
So
do love
it,
this sequence with the penguins marching through the city. It's so
I
good.
love the epic music contrasted with the silly like army of penguins.
But Schumacher's where we went too far, I guess. Like, those Burton movies
these
were serious, man.
these movies were dark and gritty.
That is where I empathize with John, where it is weird hearing people talk about like, oh, the Burton movies, they were serious, they were so cool, they were about Batman, and the Schumacher movies got silly and stupid and
Like,
sucked. It's like,
have you watched those again recently?
yeah. What movies are you
No,
watching?
this movie has that Spider-Man 2 thing where people don't actually look at what they're watching; they look at what they remember watching, and it's
I mean,
really
I don't
annoying.
agree with that. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is a much better movie than this.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, yes, I would rather watch Spider-Man 2 than the worst Batman movie. That's not a high fucking bar. My point was that people hold them up on pedestals because they're not actually looking at the piece in front of them. They are looking at what they remember from when they were kids.
I and I respectfully disagree. That's not been my experience with that movie. I like that movie for different reasons than when I liked it when I was a kid. That movie has aged well with me.
I like how you only focus on Spider-Man 2, but my point was comparing this and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but they're such different things for me.
But I'm not comparing the films, I'm comparing people's reaction to them.
But you're just said that well people like Spider-Man 2 because they liked it when they were kids and they remember it how they were,
Am
and
I
I
wrong?
respectfully disagree. I don't think so. It's a pretty acclaimed movie. I don't
Jared,
think it's
worse than
perfect. I have issues with
Forever and Robin are better than this.
it. They have different
No,
problems.
this is better than both of those.
That might be your worst take.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's just
that
true.
again, that's where I'm conflicted because as a Batman movie, I certainly think Forever's better than this, but this is at least more consistent in terms of like vibes and style, and if it just appeals more to your sensibilities, I get it. Forever has like those major missteps that hold it back. Like for me, it's just like a bunch of little issues throughout that kind of pile up. But again, I do like a lot
I
of
mean, it's not perfect, don't get me wrong, but I like Val Kilmer in the role better than Keaton. I like Riddler better than either villain in this movie. Two Face
I like both
sucks,
of them.
but
Yeah, the problem with Two Face is he should be the straight man of that duo. Like that's how that
no,
works.
instead he's just another Jim Carrey character.
Yeah, it's two crazy people trying to one up each other and craziness, and it doesn't work. Oh, and meanwhile, hi Christopher Walken, Oscar-winning Christopher Walken, who's in this big cage,
Trying to convince a
surrounded by
monkey
penguins.
to set him free.
I will give you
Surrounded by
this just because it is Christopher Walken. He is the best villain in this movie.
Now,
I wouldn't put him over Penguin.
I don't like this
uh,
penguin like at all.
What I guess if we're talking either performance or character, I guess Max Shrek is a much more consistent character than Penguin. But I love Walken in this movie too, but I think DeVito's giving a better performance.
This scene's so good.
It's so good.
I've been driving the duck. He's driving on stairs. I need the tumbler chase scene in Batman Begins, but with the penguin duck. That's all that sequence is missing.
I'm sure there's a mod you can do in like Arkham or something.
Rachel.
So after Bruce
We're in
tried
a
to
rubber duck.
After Bruce tried to convince Selina not to kill someone, he's about to have a bunch of missiles targeted at this this overweight, deformed man.
Oh, and this is my favorite Keaton bit in the movie, with Penguin strangling him, and it's a great Penguin line. He says, "Yeah, you're just jealous because I'm an actual freak and you have to wear a mask." It's so good, and then Keaton's response of, "You might be right." It's so funny. Just the facade breaks. He questions every decision he's ever made in his life that led him to this moment. It's so good.
I would also be questioning
You
every
might be right.
decision that led me to this moment if I had a like 300-pound deformed guy in a onesie hanging off my back.
It's like I'm having a
Think
sword
about
fight.
it. He's also got to smell like rotten fish.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
multiple characters have commented on how he smells. But yeah, all this stuff with the penguins is the stuff that like I do remember vividly seeing when I was a kid. That just really stuck with me, and I just feel like really sad when they're like on their march to war. that shit had an effect on me. Yeah. Also, that's a cool little Batman Year One homage. Like this is the first one to do that, where he uses bats as a weapon to take out Penguin.
They took inspiration from that, but not how they characterize Catwoman.
Exactly.
Which isn't a complaint, by the way.
Yeah, because Year One really plays a big part in defining like
That's the modern
Catwoman and how we think of that character.
But I'm also a fan of the insane Catwoman in this movie.
Me too.
You can have both.
This poor guy. It's like, I guess we're in the third act. Everything's exploding.
All those miniatures exploding look great.
And again, Max Shrek is an idiot that he can't
still trying to buy his way out.
But he can't recognize her.
My blood.
She does look really cool here. Hair kind of sticking out. It's probably unintentional, but it reminds me a little of the '90s costume with like the older Catwoman costumes with the cowl, but with the hair coming out the back.
Oh yeah,
that I used to do.
I can see that.
Batman zipline moment. You're going to jail. I don't do that a lot, but I guess I'll make an exception for you.
Yeah. Interesting. He kills the disabled guy.
Yeah.
But he's gonna arrest the rich man. Kind of questionable morals here, Batman.
Fuck you, Tim Burton.
We're about to get the best cut where it cuts back to him. He cuts back to him and his eye makeup's gone.
Why wouldn't you just cut to when it's halfway off?
And this is like the best line in the movie. Bruce Wayne, why are you dressed
as
like Batman?
And again, I do love this Batman Catwoman scene. I like the way they play off each other. Just the tragedy, the drama. It's so good. Now the makeup's gone. Again, it's just scenes like this play better out of context because some of the buildups, wonky. But I
why
still
not?
like the moment.
Why not just have him have the eye makeup on without the mask on, like Pattinson.
Yeah, they could, or just cut when it's like halfway off his head, so you're not thinking
Yeah,
about it. We
I
hold it
could
for a long time.
I could
His
see the
eyes.
moment in that shot where they could have cut back to Catwoman and as a reaction shot and then
Yep.
cut back. Selena,
Selena
you're
Kyle, I
fired.
figured it out.
Finally.
Keaton does look pretty cool
Was.
with the scar.
He is
No, so
Batman, you moron.
I was always confused by the lives thing when I watched this as a kid because it's like felt like they only established that in this scene.
Yep,
Um,
but she's doing it.
because like I talked about before in those other scenes, it doesn't feel like she's supposed to die in those scenes.
Like I said though, her performance is great.
So good.
Very dramatic. It's very operatic. That's what I like about it. And Bruce is like, oh, it's been a fucking day.
You just have a really long day.
Where did she get that taser?
You got it from somewhere.
It was a Looney Tunes gag where she just reaches behind her back and has it.
Same place where Wile E. Coyote pulls out his signs.
Oh, do you guys want to know about one of the dumbest Wikipedia entries I've ever seen?
Yes.
Uh,
Sure. Yeah.
this was years ago. I was looking at Batman stuff on Wikipedia. Some quick information on Black Mask, and you get the list of like all like other media appearances. There was one listed. It's probably not there anymore for Batman Returns, where it's like when Max Shrek dies in Batman Returns, he looks like Black Mask, which is an homage to
It's
him.
so stupid. That is not an homage to
No, it's
Black
not.
Mask.
Max Shrek is a loose adaptation of Black Mask in Batman Returns.
Oh, I love that.
Says nobody.
That is amazing.
Oh god.
When it
I can't
when it has the thing that like shows the source, does it say I made it the fuck up?
I mean, he looks more like Black Mask than the Gotham Black Mask. I'll give it that.
He's a better Black Mask than the Gotham Black Mask.
I do
I
love
picked the cute
this scene.
one.
Pick the cute one. The way DeVito plays the scene is so good. And again, as a kid, I remember this really being effective. I was like, oh god, like this is intense. This is heavy.
But then were you moved by the penguin
I
pallbearers?
was. It's adorable, and it's
Just
the
it's
best
so
scene
silly.
of the movie.
You moved.
Again, this is that part of the movie where it wants you to feel really sad, and it's like, man, you
While also making him be
fleshed this out so much.
disgusting as possible.
Yeah, and the guy's penguin costume show. It's so good.
And because they don't have fingers, they don't grab onto him. So if you see like where their flippers are, they're just kind of like next to him, but somehow pushing him.
So good. And unironically, again, the music here, amazing.
Oh,
Love the score in this scene.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me want to see this scene without music. Somebody better have edited that by now. Like from Batman's point of view, just watching this.
Just with like
there's
Foley.
no music.
Just with like the Foley, like the audio of Penguin's body getting dragged. Rip. Oswald Cobb.
That better be how that show ends. They do this scene.
Yes. Well, this is a very grounded universe, just like that universe.
But Yeah, that's the scene though that I most distinctly remember when I first watched this on VHS with my dad, and my dad just saying, "Yeah, penguins like the water," in a very comforting, reassuring way. And I was like, "Oh, that's
Oh.
really sad."
Well, it worked on
So
its intended audience.
Yeah. No, this is a kids movie.
is this a kids movie?
I say
Tim Burton
with
thinks it
line
so.
is.
with lines like "I'd like to fill her void."
Well, no, I've mentioned this to you before, where this is like the Temple of Doom of Batman movies, where at the
Yeah.
time it's super controversial. A lot of people hate it. It's considered the dark one. It's super violent, super weird, not appropriate. People are very angry about it. So then we kind of course correct in the next one. And then when you're decades removed from it, it's like, oh, but that's the wacky one. Like it's so
Yeah.
weird. Like Temple of Doom's like a comedy.
Temple of Doom is just a dark comedy like this is.
hmm And I do like Temple of Doom
And
more than this movie, but there are some
that's a better
similarities.
movie. Yeah.
I do like that. Now, this is some connective tissue I wish we had. I wish the cat was still hanging around Wayne Manor in the sequels. I
That
want
would
to
have
see
been
Alfred taking
Yeah.
care of
hilarious.
the cat.
Ace the Bat Cat.
Alfred, the cat, pissed on the couch again. Clean it up. All right, sir.
Okay, sir.
This line is cheesy, but I've never minded it. It's a nice scene. I've always really liked this ending. Goodwill toward men and women.
Do you like it up until the shot of Catwoman?
I like that too. I mean, again, to me, it solidifies that this is a supernatural movie.
So I
No,
think
I like
what
this final shot a lot.
I think
No,
what
Nolan
had to have
thinks this is
happened.
very grounded. This is like the Batman made in the 90s.
It is like the Batman. No, I think what had to have happened is that was the intention in the script, and then how Burton interpreted it was just wrong.
Gareth,
Well,
when
and
is
this
everyone seeing Nosferatu? I'm seeing it Christmas night. I am seeing it when it hits on demand.
How dare
oh,
you?
I am seeing it the day after Christmas. I bought my ticket today.
I'm seeing it
Very excited.
sometime after Christmas. I don't know when.
I'm very excited for it. And it looks like maybe a Christmas movie. It looks like winter. I'm very stoked for it. I think it looks beautiful.
That was the best Christmas movie ever made.
No, and to your point, Noah.
That is,
No.
you are full of shit, sir.
Oh my god. But how could this not be comic accurate, John? Bob Kane got a project consultant credit. The creator of Batman was heavily involved.
You mean the sole creator of Batman?
The sole creator of Batman, Bob Kane, was a project consultant. That's a big deal. See, Tim Burton cares about the comics. R.I.P. Bill
You are
Finger.
so stupid.
Thank you for creating
sometimes.
Batman. But no, what I was saying to your point though, that final shot of Catwoman, you know that is a reshoot, right? That's done at like the last minute.
Yeah. I think I knew that at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not even Michelle Pfeiffer in the costume. It's just some extra they got
Yeah.
to put the suit on and just shoot that.
Daddy,
scene.
I know I'm
Glad
late, but
they
I
did.
just say this, or my conscience won't be clear. We need another Batman movie set in winter. We
I
do,
agree.
so we can finally have
Batman
a good one
2.
set in winter.
Yeah. Here's fingers crossed that the Batman Part 2 is a Christmas movie.
I want that movie to open with Christmas, the way the first movie opens with Halloween, and then I think that movie should build to New Year. That's what I would do with it.
Okay.
So you open with Christmas and then end the movie with New Year's Eve. So it's still a very winter set movie. That's.
I'd like to have another movie that's just all throughout the Christmas season, but I guess that this movie already fills that void.
I like how Teddy said he was late when he got here as
Intentional
the
reference to
credits
that
are
line.
rolling. That's your favorite thing to quote. You say it all the time, and really inopportune
I
place.
thought about that as I was saying it. I was like, wait.
Why did you say that?
See, that's why this isn't a kids movie.
Negative cutter, Donna Bassett.
Whoa, you can't say that.
I'm just
so
listening to the score.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So yeah,
Teddy's
this movie
also singing this
sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You
So
got
we're
through
gonna
it.
do we gotta do final thoughts now. John, you gave it 5 out of 5, right?
Yep.
It gets a 1 for
Out of
Max
1.
Shrek.
A 1.
A 1 out of 5. This is the
I don't,
worst
I don't
Batman
even
live
remember if
action.
we. I don't even think we do ratings on
We
commentaries. I don't
don't.
remember.
Yeah, sometimes. I'm at like a 3.5 out of 5. I like this movie.
You would be.
There's great stuff. Yeah.
I have it as a strong 4, but I think I want to give it a 5 now just to piss off
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, it balances the scales a bit.
You're the one that's saying it's on the level of the Batman, so if you want to make yourself look stupid, go for it.
Yeah, fuck it. I think I'll give it a 5. I don't care. Come at me. But yeah,
It's a fun Christmas movie.
I do try to watch this every Christmas, like legitimately. This and Die Hard and Gremlins. I'm a weirdo. Those are my favorite Christmas movies.
I mean, Teddy, it is the worst live action Batman movie.
No,
I don't agree. But no, last year I had the best viewing I ever had of this though, where I was house sitting for some friends who have a mini home theater, and it was in December, and they had like their Christmas tree out and decorations and stuff, and I got to watch, and I was house sitting for them, so I got to watch this in their home theater, and it was so cool. I've never seen like any of the old Batman movies like re-released in theaters. I really like to at some point.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to see.
I would
at
love
least...
to see Batman and Robin in theaters.
That would actually be funny. That would actually be fun if you got friends to go see that in theaters.
Yeah. I mean, the first Batman movie I ever see theatrically
Okay,
is Begins.
so we have to come back for at least one more because we have to do a Batman and Robin.
We really should.
Oh, we will. We'll do more.
We really should. And we
You
have to have
hate
Austin
Nightmare
on for that.
2, so we are different people. I mean, I would hope we're different people. Like,
I mean, I will say Nightmare 2 is probably a better movie than this. To watch it again, but I
would rather watch Nightmare 2.
Oh, this is better than Nightmare 2.
I mean, Nightmare 2 also sucks, but like, it's also shorter.
This is better than. I mean, I think I'd rather watch this than any of the Nightmare movies. I dislike.
I mean, it's better than Freddy's Dead. We can all agree.
It's better than the second half of Freddy's Dead.
I just don't remember Freddy's Dead that well.
The first half has got an energy to it. It's stupid, but it's got an energy.
So that's when you're cool with something being a Saturday morning cartoon.
I mean, it's still like the bottom of the Freddy, like towards the bottom of the Freddy movies, but it's watchable. It also doesn't have a source material that I'm invested in.
Yeah, it does. It's called the first movie. It's still part of a canon.
No, Jareth, it's Noah that dislikes second movies. He hates sequels.
Why do I like this movie?
Because it doesn't actually have like 2 in the title.
That's
just pretend it's not a sequel.
Returns. Oh, we didn't talk about the title and how it doesn't make sense.
Right.
What is he returning from?
Well, it's because Dark Knight Returns was a hit, so we want to capitalize on that.
But that's actually about Batman returning.
It's a cool sounding title, Batman Returns.
I just figured it's because it's the. I always just thought it was because it's the second one. Batman returns to the big screen.
But that's it. It's just like in the meta sense where he's returning to theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this movie's not that smart.
It was just called Batman 2 for a long time. I don't know why they changed it, but I do know like Dark Knight Returns was a factor.
And Gareth, for your information, I happen to love X2 and Blade 2, so I mean I don't know.
Those are great movies.
Yeah, those are actually, good sequels.
But you also don't like But you also don't like Hellboy 2, so you do have a thing against 2s.
Oh, that you are wrong
about. Hellboy 2 sucks. It's so boring.
It's better than the first one.
It's not.
Anyway.
2 is so much more creative than the first one.
I love Hellboy 2.
Boring.
Yeah, but it looks cool.
But I was
I know that.
Okay, But if I wanted something that looked better, I will just take a picture of the damn thing and print it off and put it on the wall. I am watching a film with a
It'll last
story,
longer.
and 2 is boring.
It does more interesting mythology stuff than the first one. First one's just
I also just don't. I'm not a
straightforward.
fantasy guy,
in
so
black.
that's not like.
But wait, why would you watch a still image and not a moving one?
Because then I don't have to. Then I don't have to sit through boring exposition and characters I don't.
You
care.
can tune that stuff out if you want.
Then why am I
Little do
watching
you
a
know that
movie?
John hates character development.
Movies, it's not just about story.
It's about atmosphere and feeling.
Yeah, I know, Jareth. I'm just messing with you.
But that was our Batman Returns commentary. Thank you guys for watching. Happy
Now we're just
holidays.
going to debate 2 movies.
I'd rather not.
I think that's about it for our Christmas content this month, unless you guys have something else
We'll
planned
go-
that I don't
well,
know.
for this channel, yeah, this is it.
Both are good for the channel,
it-
but no, we're still going to do Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Oh,
we're
right.
gonna
No,
do
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, no. We're doing that on Haven of Horror.
And then a week from Sunday, we're gonna try to do our of the year ranking, my best, my worst.
Yeah, we still
So we're
gotta
gonna
do
Okay, I need
So
to make
you
sure
better
I
hurry up
watch
and finish
Nosferatu.
any of your ranking video movies, because
Th-
Robert's
yeah.
still got to see The Substance. You still got to see
Oh,
Winnie the Pooh,
dude.
Blood and Honey. Too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna finalize my top 5 until I see the substance. And then
Noah's
I love it.
expression when I said that.
I love that. That implies that Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is on the same level as The Substance.
Well, no, The Substance is on the best of, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 is on the worst of. So I mean, they're going to both be on a list. But
If I see enough movies, Blood and Honey 2, that's not making my worst of. If I catch up on enough movies.
I
do
need,
need
I
to
need
make
Robert's
sure
review of Night Swim.
Oh God, I only have one movie I've seen that's like a locked in bottom 5.
Oh, weird.
Oh,
yeah, my list
I never
is
talk about it.
my list is pretty done. Because I'm not going
I
to get to see
basically-
Nosferatu in time.
I basically have a solid top 5 best
Thank you,
as
Teddy.
of right now.
Teddy is
But
with
I
me.
want to make sure I watch Nosferatu before we do that video, just in case
Yeah,
it
me too.
changes. Yeah.
Teddy is now my new favorite person in this chat. He agrees with me about Hellboy 2.
Because you like Spider-Man 2?
Because he doesn't like Hellboy 2.
How can anyone not like Hellboy 2?
Because it's boring.
It's a fun movie.
How do you find that movie boring?
Well, John has a short attention span.
It's got so
He
many
doesn't
cool,
like visuals.
but it's got cool creatures and
It does.
stuff in it. All the
Wow.
creatures. You can just not pay attention to the story in that movie and just be.
I'm fascinated to
it's
see the
a-
way that you watch movies.
It has a more interesting. I mean, I like the first movie, but 2 does have a more interesting story. The first one's just kind of a.
No,
story.
I mean I do actually
And a
like
black
the story of that movie. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just saying that
But
if
one
you
is more of a horror
didn't-
film, which is my
if you
stuck there
if
about
you
fantasy.
chose not to pay attention to the story, you could still have a fun time with that movie. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
like
don't know how to
different
watch a movie and ignore 2/3 of the movie, which is the dialogue and plot.
Why do you like Friday the 13th then?
Hey, I pay attention to the story. I watch for the kills.
Those movies known for their intricate stories and great.
I mean, I didn't say they were known for intricate stories, but they're not boring.
But the dialogue's great. Is what you're saying.
It's stupendous.
So some of the dialogue is stupendous. I agree with you. But Jareth asked if we've seen Azrael. I still haven't seen that.
I have. I
I
thought it was
haven't.
pretty good.
There's
These
a
two are slacking.
few. Well, there's a few movies I want to see. I'm not sure I'll be able to by the time we do that video. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch I Saw the TV Glow.
Why?
We'll see, though.
Well, we know that'll be in Austin's top 5.
Which
I
not
Saw
his
the TV
best.
Jareth, it's on show. It's the 3rd best movie. It's definitely not the 3rd best movie that I have seen. I'm glad you liked it though. But it might make my top 5.
I need to see at
Yeah.
least one more shitty movie so I have a definitive top 5 worst.
Me
That's
too.
why you gotta
Yeah,
watch Winnie
mine
the
too,
Pooh,
on
Blood
my
and
list.
Honey too.
Yeah, but I'm
Why
just
is that your go-to?
I've
There are
been
much.
I've been putting it off just because I don't want to seek out bad horror movies, you know?
That one's better than the first one.
Well, because he's already seen Night Swim, he's seen Imaginary.
Noah, have you seen Salem's Lot yet?
Oh yeah, you
No,
should watch Salem's Lot instead.
It's on
I'm not
Max.
I'm
You
not
can watch
watching that.
it.
I feel like the chance I had to watch that movie is when you guys did the commentary and I just wasn't there for it, so
Oh, when you mean when you blew
uh,
us off because you didn't want to do it?
yeah.
Happy holidays, everybody! If you want to see more from us, check us out on our channel, Haven of Horror. We will be here Sunday for a commentary and some more gaming.
In
live
other words,
stream.
Robert's trying to get us to go.
Yes, I am.
I need to go to
All right.
bed too, yeah, to be
Yeah,
fair.
sorry. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys Sunday on